And then we go live on YouTube. Any minute now, there it goes. To all of my 0 viewers, welcome. How's it going, Twitch viewers? All right, there's that. Bring that over to my monitor over here. And then I go to this guy. And then I hit auto find and activate. And now we have YouTube chat. And you guys are all as one. You're all in the same thing, which is turbo illegal for me to do. Face procedure. Go, go, go. Automation. It didn't do anything. Oh, you know what? I need to restart Stream Deck because it gets weird with the USBs. So quit Stream Deck. Yes, I wish to quit. And then I need to start it up again. STR, Stream Deck. I should automate this. Closing and opening Stream Deck should be automated. Doing well, trying to learn Python to use Doing well, trying to learn to use DeerPy GUI. It's a Python graphical user interface. That sounds cool. We should probably update this, but sometimes the updates break the compatibility with OBS, and I'm streaming right now and I can't upgrade OBS. So I don't think I declined an OBS update, but hopefully this doesn't break our compatibility. I really don't want to manually go through and calibrate everything. Let's see what happens. Boom. Boom. Bada bing. Bada bang. All right, cool. That's good. That one worked. What is that? Is it giant extra hair, or is it just a regular beard hair that's gone rogue? I need to do all my trimmings. All right, so burn the subs camera. Ooh, that one's in a bad state. There we go. All right, now I have to come in and manually do a little bit of magic on this because we're not looking at the board right now. Not much gain, just a little bit. There we go. Oh, focus. Focus. All the way out. There we go. Do you have a CNC? I wish I did. I have a manual mill. I have a manual mill. These colors are much more natural, yeah. All right, so let's, what's next? Oh, next I need to do, well, the arm probably needs one. We'll hit that. There we go. And then we'll do the microscope, although we probably won't need the microscope today. That's all that Teflon garbage. Okay, we're back. So let's go to the BTS cam, and I need to actually make room for myself to exist in here. I got one a month ago, used it to make PCBs. It just had an error. Oh, enough of the perf boards. I mean, there's something to be said for that, but I don't feel, you know, $5 circuit boards has kind of ruined that whole thing for me. I don't feel the need to like make a PCB right away. Plus it makes me sweat the details so that I get it right. Get it right or pay the price. All right, brakes are the subject of today. I'm gonna put this, well, I'll put it on top of its own thing. We need a metal bar. There's no way for me to do this without a metal bar. I tried printing it, 4 hours printing. This stuff is closing in. I know, this is what happens. As you build something like this, you get kind of forced out of your own realm. I mean, there's a bunch of the 2020 beams that I reclaimed by breaking down some old setups. And I was kind of looking at the possibility, like these are gonna have to be my armrests. It's gonna have to be flat, and then I'll be able to mount stuff to them. But I need to clear this table off so that I can move all the stuff out and put the simulator here where this table is. That will also give me access to burn the subs so I can finally do some of that wiring stuff that I wanted to do. It's a lot of stuff, and I'm a fat guy and I need to lose all this. I'm back up 6 pounds. I don't know where the fuck it came from. Probably just from bad habits. Bad habits. I gotta eat less, man. I thought I'd been losing weight, but I guess I dropped all the water weight like right away and it all came back. So I will not go back up to 280. I refuse. I'll take drastic measures before that happens. Here's the steering shaft, the part that we need. I don't know how I'm going to fit all of this on the setup. These will be solved problems eventually. And then this is the electric steering column. Don't know if there's a more compact one, but thanks to the Mercedes-Benz, I was able to get this for $20, and it's like 6 pounds of aluminum. It's kind of incredible, actually. It's an incredible amount of material for the amount that I paid. Paid like the same amount as in shipping. This is medical supplies. That's what this is. So I can't show you guys that face of the box, the bottom face. Can't show it. Can't show it. That there. Now, this is stuff that I need to throw out. I'll put this somewhere else. Then, what's next? What are next? I relegated the Husky bins for all 2020 parts and 4040. So I've got 2 pieces that have rail parts. These 2 containers that are sitting on the seat contain all of my different brackets and stuff like that. So I have kind of one source for all those brackets. So I don't have to go through multiple boxes to find all this stuff. I need to find those 2 little boxes of cleats that I have, though, for the 2020 rails and put them into these boxes. All right. I can almost see myself. I can see parts of the floor. I think there's a surface mount part on the floor. Did you just quote salute your shorts? Yes, I did. People sometimes get the weird things that pop into my head, and it's kind of scary. All the weird stuff that makes up your old millennial brain. This thing has been a godsend. This thing is from my parents, who use it for gardening. It's just a thick closed cell foam that has a brand on it that probably charges way too much for thick closed cell foam, but it's really good for when you've got to kneel a lot. This stuff is nice and soft. Good and soft for my knees. All right, so let's get, what am I doing with all this rail? I got all this rail sitting here. I do not like this camera angle. This camera angle could use some work. Mainly because I could use some work on me. I have to lose like an entire person in fat. Which is a daunting task for your average fat North American who has something of a hormonal imbalance. In part, probably due to diabetes. Maybe an underlying thing, who knows? All right, I'm putting a pile of beams around this camera. All the beamists are going around this camera. It's the only free space I got. And I got a lot of these little pieces of 2020 rail that are probably going to make it into some part of this setup. I just don't know what yet. Who knows? Who knows? Some of that is inch standard rail. Some of this stuff right here is inch rail instead of millimeter rail, which adds to the confusion. It nicely just kind of dashes a little bit of confusion into the rest of this. Just enough to kind of season it. Man, if only I could get the prices that I used to pay for all this stuff. Those are giant. Yeah, there's some big rails, but the biggest rail is the stuff that I'm using to build the frame with. The 4040 rail is absolutely enormous compared to this stuff. The steering box is huge, or whatever it is. The adjustable steering column. That thing is enormous. All right, these will go on my desk for now. And now I got a little bit of room to move the beamists out of the way so I can get into this corner and put this stuff away. Oh, the fun we're having today. So much fun. Fun. Oh boy, what fun. Jeez. Wire can go there. Probe leads. Toothbrush. Yeah. All right. Finally, in this corner, we can go to that corner cam. I need to move the seat to get to my streaming setup. Okay. It is known that the US allows only two types of bodies, overweight and uber muscular. It won't help you to be in the middle. I don't know, man. I would prefer to go back to being a twink like I was as a teenager, but I will settle for only moderately overweight instead of morbidly obese. That would be nice. Sorry, I'm making you guys dizzy. I had to spin your head around a little bit because you're getting all twisted. Don't get it twisted. That's a quote that nobody will know. Nobody will know that one, bother. Nobody drives on Route 30 to Philadelphia like you do all the time. There's a church that I passed by, and it had this sign on it. It was a mural. It had a mural, and it has this guy with dreadlocks, and the text is, "Don't get it twisted. I'm a child of God." And I'm like, weird. So that for some reason has entered my personal lexicon of things that I say, and people have no idea what I'm talking about. There's too many instances of stuff like that. Oh my God, the sun coming in. I haven't seen the sun in days. We've had snowstorms here. We're gonna have another snowstorm this weekend. So even more snow outside. My dog loves it. Willow loves the snow. She gets all rambunctious. It's very, very cute. Very, very cute indeed. She was jumping around in the snow today. Super cute. More rail stuff. I'm just kind of like moving everything out of the way so that I can get to the milling machine, because we have our task is cut out for us. I need to get the shuck or whatever the hell, the vise, off of here so that we can put the rotary table down. But first, I need to do a little bit of machining on the block to put some holes in it. Let's put this goes over here. Speakers can go on top of that. I need to get my real speakers back. I've been switching over to the new mixer. I need to just like follow through with the switch. It goes there, this goes here. This thing goes back. Okay. Whew. It's just it was just striking. It's just so weird. And it is kind of a funny sign because it's like, why would I get it twisted? Like, what am I twisting here? Like, you're a child of God. All right, I get it. You're a holy man. Random brand. Gotta love Random brand. Random brand bringing you quality ? Since date ? I live in the US. I would say congratulations, but I guess it's anything but. I do too. Oh, you're telling it's a different conversation. It's known that the US allows only two types of bodies. Honestly, I believe you can make it to the middle. I did. Food in the US is optimized to taste good. Yeah, they think we love sugar here. What is the thermal camera? That is a Lepton, pure thermal, version 3.5, with a thermal webcam module from GroupGets. It's way more expensive than you can get now because the technology's come quite a ways in the, intervening 5 years since we've put the thermal imager together. I also 3D printed a case for it, but there's a command that tells you all the stuff. But GroupGets is the reason that it is able to function at a high-ish frame rate as a webcam. These are big beams, and I'm probably going to have to cut them at some point. Okay, here's that. Whew! I can finally see my mill. Look at the mill. Look at it. It's right here. It's been here the whole time. You're keeping the toothbrush too far away from the bathroom. They're fine. They're in love. It's fine. Don't worry about them. Okay, this light I'm going to spin around. We're not going to machine immediately. We need to plan a little bit first and do some markings. But until then, I would like to have part of my machining setup somewhat accessible. A lot of these right angle brackets, and I don't know where to put them. Got all kinds of weird stuff today. All kind of weird stuff. This is getting dusty, and I don't like that. This is a vacuum tube preamp for a microphone, and I would like to see if I'm not sure if I can use it on my setup. I might use it on the AT4040, the microphone that I do for like gaming streams and stuff. But this is a tube like preamp, and I would like to bring the warmth of tube to my voice, possibly to this mic. Does this mic sound muffled to you guys? Because I was looking at that clip from yesterday, and it sounds a bit muffled. I might need to go into some of the audio tuning and do a number on my stuff. There's so many wires that like go through. Wires that go through the milling machine. It's terrible. I've clipped things into the map. This is a thing that Mahalo sent in, and it's like a, what is the James Bond gun? It's a Tamiya drill that uses the regular old little tiny Tamiya motors, but it gears it up so that you can use it to like drill through plastic. But they modeled it after like a Walther, so it's got like a slide and it has a trigger. And I mean, they really should have made the batteries in like a cartridge that you could punch into the bottom. You could punch them into the bottom and then. There's another one that I have too, and it's the electric handy router, but it's more fun to have the electric handy router with the big label that says that it can give you an electric handy right here. So I'm going to keep that in the box for the foreseeable future. This is probably going to be what powers audio in the sim rig. If not, if it doesn't connect to my regular, whatever it's called, my regular audio stuff on my desk. I don't know which one I'm going to plug into yet. The value of open space in a shop cannot be undersold. Overstated. Overstated, I think, is the one that I wanted. Womp 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 womp. Music noise. Bop 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 bop. Beep beep bop womp womp. Bop bop. Bop bop. Bop 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 bop. Weird music noises. All right, starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel here. Good enough. Good enough, clean enough. Whew. Man alive. I need a toothbrush. This is that like weird side room music. You know, you're at the club and like the main room is too hot and crowded. So you go to one of the side rooms and they're playing this crap and everybody's just a little bit too serious looking. Just a little. What is that? Oh, it's glue. There's like a bead of glue on the back of this vise. I need to unrust all this stuff. Undust and unrust. Trust in the dust. Oh God, that's a lot of dust. We haven't done any machining in a little while. All right, I can come back over to you guys. I'll come back over here and sit down for a minute. I'm going to be sweaty all stream because we're going to be standing up. Ah! I have a trail camera with a battery magazine that loads from the bottom. It's spring-loaded, so in theory, a person could do a battery mag change without empty mag retention. That's awesome. Just like lock and load. You know, you got to have that little like lock and load element, so you can say lock and load. What is that metallic cylinder? Some sort of gas for welding? No, it's a spray alcohol. I use it for either cleaning electronics or wherever alcohol may need to be sprayed. I put it there just because that was a space for it. I think the other one I have, those bottles are kind of awesome though, because you can fill them with whatever you want. And so one of them I had is just spray air. It was just, you know, take it to 100 PSI and just have spray air out of the thing. But the other one I put electronics cleaning alcohol in, which I occasionally use to clean electronics. Yep, just electronics alcohol. The problem with this setup that I have right now is that it comes out. I don't have one of the ones that locks in that does this particular drive and is also impact friendly. This one also is a little bit undersized purposely to allow this to kind of fudge its way in. So I've got a ball end on the socket. It's long because I had to buy the long ones. This is like $60 in hex keys. So I better get my use out of this crap. It's not hardened for impact, which is fine. I'm not putting too much force into the M8s. But it has a little bit of tilt, and then it's got the ball end. So I can come in at just about any angle and still rotate it properly. I gotta be careful though, because this is an impact drill, and I wanted impact because I wanted to have that little bit of extra torque, but those impacts are absolute fucking hell on a hex pattern. If this were Torx, I would be much happier. If they were all Torx, I wish they could all be Torx. Unfortunately, getting stuff for a reasonable price means that they are hex. And so hex with only 6 sides and no little grippy bits in there means that it can roundinate these very easily when it starts impacting. So I want to take it slow and then not really ever let it impact unless I'm taking out fasteners. In my opinion, it's very long. Why, thank you. I appreciate that. That's a very good compliment, and I will remember it for life. I had to get the long ones because they wouldn't fit inside of the reinforced corners, because they've got like an aluminum triangle, and you got to get the fastener all the way in there. So I had to get long ones. I have short ones. They're not ball ended, and these are also Craftsman. So pretty cool. Unfortunately, the days are gone when we could use every single Craftsman tool as a pry bar, and you could sit on the pry bar and, oh no, it broke. Let's just go to Sears, and then we would just exchange it for the same exact tool. Long gone are those days. I've even refurbished my ratchets from the early 2000s. I really like their design. We were able to take it apart, and it turns out my miniature ratchet, the one that fits into these little guys, it had bad oil in it from the start, because it would be weird and like skip clicks on the thing and stuff. And I found out it was oil that had like caked onto the thing, probably from the start, because I don't remember the thing as clicking very reliably in the first place. So we got some of my nice red grease that I keep on hand and greased it up with that after peeling, practically had to scrape all the stuff out of it, opening up, you know, the wrench, paper toweling it all, using like brake clean to really get the stuff off, so it was just bare metal, and then red grease went back in. It's never felt better. It feels like a brand new tool. It's amazing. So if you can be bothered, get into your tools, throw them into an ultrasonic bath, all the parts, get all that bad grease out somehow, scrape it out, whatever, yeah, re-grease it with good stuff. Good stuff. You got to get that good stuff. Got to get that good shit. Man, I have a feeling a modern gas pedal probably speaks CAN bus already, which would have been a neat solution for us. Ms. Smalls gifted a tier 1 sub, and it went to Hawk 7000. Hey, that's cool. Hey, thank you, Ms. Smalls. You didn't even give yourself you gave somebody else all my emotes? That's crazy. That's crazy. This thing is so dusty. So this is an E46, I think, pedal. And it's got this little piece of electronics attached to it. This thing is a light little piece of plastic, right? The more modern ones probably speak CAN bus directly, which would have benefited us in our sort of push to have real car parts. But because of all the gas pedal shenanigans that went on in the early 2000s, this thing has a redundant, capacitive disc sensor on it for the position, and it simply outputs 0 to 5 volts. So wherever this thing plugs in, we're gonna have to make that speak CAN bus. Oh my God. Ms. Small sub to the tier 1. You could use a piano sustain pedal. I was thinking of getting one of those organists. I was thinking of improving my organ. No, I was thinking of getting one of those organist pedals, because they've got keys, like foot pedal keys. And I was looking at them, and they're like $1,000 because they mimic the feel of a real organ, which I don't necessarily need. But that would be like a bunch of buttons that I could have that I could stomp on. No. This a car gas pedal is perfectly fine. You can get them for like 20 bucks. And I think a more modern one would speak CAN bus, and then we could just reverse engineer the CAN bus. This one is my baby, though. I like this one. Doesn't really need a backdrop or anything. The flatulent gonad would have you believe that I should put all kinds of dampers on this thing to quiet it down, but I'm not going to do that. Well, let's see what they actually cost. Let me put my eBay where my mouth is. Let's double check. We're all calibrated and ready to go. Those of you on YouTube are probably like, wait, there's no audio. There's no music. Why does he keep talking about weird side room drum and bass? Music to fall down the stairs to. Well, it's because music is illegal in the United States. And if I so much as play a frequency note that another artist has already played, the FBI will descend upon my house and beat in my forehead with the back of a gun. eBay. So we're looking for F10. Let's look at the F10 gas pedal. It's probably more expensive. $12, 40 bucks, 30 bucks. This is the same exact design. This is E90. I think this might be the exact one that I have. Where's the rest of it? Show me the rest of it. Oh, that's different. That's a little different than what I have. Yeah, mine's a little different design. This one probably speaks CAN bus, I would guess. Let's look up E90 gas pedal pinout. This is one of my favorite brakes. I like this one a lot. Where? So this one does just output a voltage level. 0.5 to 4.5. That's exactly what we got. We got 0.5 to 4.5. And then the second one is 0.5 to 2.5. The throttle unit is non-adjustable. Cool. Yeah, I love this kind of stuff. This is great. You can just fully reverse engineer stuff. It's beautiful. And then you have a gas pedal that feels like an actual car's gas pedal because you have an actual car's gas pedal. I had a 99 E46 with one of those in it. I had a 2002 E46. And then I sold it for a 1999 E39. And now my E39 is suffering from the same kind of rot, the outdoor car rot that my other car suffered, and I'm sad. Maybe I should go to get it fixed, but it's going to be like $5,000 for them to weld on a little bit of material and seal it up, which I could probably do if I had access to a welder, which I also gave away to a friend of mine. Here we go. That's the one that I want. Apps, accelerator, pedal position sensor. Oh, this is not the right car, though. This is, where are we? We're in HP Academy. The fuck? What is this? One suggestion, to get unstuck, switch to a pedal that you have wiring for. That's the pinout of a Ford pedal. Yeah, that's not what we want. The name of my first car? My very first car? What was my very first car? It was a Volkswagen Mark II Wolfsburg edition, and it was a Jetta. And later it was a Ja, because the letters fell off. So I don't know if these actually speak CAN bus or not. We didn't really find like a relevant pinout. It might just be two voltage signals that go into the unit. I love a connector that has numbers on it. That's very nice. It helps you not lose your orientation and not accidentally wire the thing backwards and blow up the device. But yeah, 40 bucks you can get one of these, and then you've got to mount it, which is a little bit difficult to do since you're not, all the orientation of all the bits is not quite, you know, you don't have a lot of right angles in the footwell of a car. Yeah, the Mark II Jetta is a classically good-looking, squarish 1980s car. Mine was an 88, I believe. You have exactly 0 right angles. I got a couple. There's, you know, that's kind of a right angle right there for the glasses. This is close enough, right? The design is very human. Oop, that's a pedal's in the way. I gotta clean off this desk. Hold on. Let's do a little bit of a, let's do a number on the desk here. I've got some stuff in the way of my streaming. just a little bit is kind of getting in the way. I guess this stuff can go back here. Save the spring. The file's under some stuff. The pointer goes away. This stuff is an example. All this plastic needs to be off of my desk. And then we're going to need to do a little session of marking, and then a little drilling, a little tiny bit of machining, and then we'll bolt the thing to my rotary axis, and I can bring it to 45 degrees. We can figure out where everything else. Today, another day at the mill? Yeah, it's another day at the mill. We're going to be making grain. I meant on the car body. What are we talking about? Oh, yeah, 0 right angles on the car body. Sure. Little bit. Yeah, so to get the angle right, it's kind of a weird problem. And so I actually did make a, what we've got to do is we have to put a bar behind these 2 holes for the brake master cylinder. This is really, really close over here. If I get rid of this body, it's really, really close to the bemis. And we have to kind of maximize that closeness, I think, in order to get this thing to be machinable. Leave some markings ingrained. What do we mean? What? Huh? What? Yeah, see, the good part of the scan is this back piece here, and I was trying to get those right because those are important. And so if I get the angles kind of close, we should be able to do a bar back here, and then whatever I put up here, I will be able to bolt something to this piece here, and that will hopefully give it a lot of strength when I go pressing these things, because this is the fulcrum right here. So everything is sort of working on this axis. There's very little distance, and I don't know what it is because I don't want to measure it, because I don't want to engineer this. I want to do it by the seat of my pants. Unfortunately, my pants are splitting, and everybody saw my balls. So we need to make a metal bracket. Plastic is just not going to do it. Did you guys see that video of the guy that was dancing at the wedding? And he like did a split, and his whole ball sack dropped out. That's what I was thinking of. It was just the whole meat and potatoes just dropped out. It was hilarious. We're gonna have to make like a pseudo floor too to mount this thing too. This one, although this one I can actually 3D print something to hold it up. I would prefer it to be metal though, but the gas pedal is much lighter touch than the brakes. The brakes are like a full force human being on them. Absolutely not seen that, not sure I want to. It was funny. Listen, I'm very comfortable in my sexuality. I don't mind seeing a guy's nutsack drop out of his pants in the middle of a wedding because it's funny and I laugh at things like that. Because I am no better than a caveman. Well, we did do a strength test on the undersized hull for putting a bolt into. We did not test that against the fulcrum that the brake pedal becomes when you hit the brakes, and all of that force is concentrated into the tiny little threaded tip of a load cell. I had many different unique failures of that thing, and this is just one of them, where the whole thing sheared and then the 2 bolts that hold the whole assembly together pop out. This is the one that hit my shins on camera. And then the next iteration I discovered, because this actually, no, this is not the one that hit my shins. This is a different one. This one I had rectilinear layers, right? Rectilinear infill. Turns out rectilinear infill is very difficult to look at on camera. Rectilinear infill has these little spaces in the material, and so it becomes kind of the spongy infill thing. If you're trying to print quickly and you want a good substrate and you want it to be pretty light, this is pretty good. I mean, it does its job very nicely. It's just the problem is, in between these super reinforced holes, we are relying on that infill and the 2 layers of bottom layer to hold everything together. And so it didn't do it. It wasn't able to do it. And in fact, shearing in the way that it did right before the bolt holes gave out and the two bolts just dropped out with everything. But yeah, that actually, wait, no, it wasn't that. These stuck. These actually stayed in. It's just the forces between the rail and the two bolts on the assembly. That's what failed. You can see it pulled these two back from the four that are holding it to the piece of rail. And that's all due to the force that punched into this part here. So the enforcement, just kind of like everything just pulled backwards on it. Very weird. Physics. It's a good lesson in physics. So then I printed it with a grid. The cool thing about grid is that grid is way more solid. Grid gives you the same pattern, except the layers are fused together. So this does really well under compression. What it does not do well under is shearing forces, and that's what it got. It got shearing forces. So while this held up pretty well, this piece right here, the bolt holes themselves just ripped out. So it's possible that if I don't know, put like a solid reinforcement bar diagonally across all these holes, everything would have worked out just fine. Maybe. I'm not too sure about that, to be honest, because this is like, I mean, these were okay. It doesn't look like any of this stuff was pulled away, but it tore out these two pretty easily. I mean, it just basically like crack, crack, pop, and then you're done. And so now I've got to get a pair of pliers to undo these two bolts because they tore with it the rest of the material that made up that whole reinforcement. Thank you for your service, pieces of plastic. Yeah, it's possible that I could print this with a solid bar across these elements. So if I put a big solid piece of plastic across there in the editor or in, you know, I could do that probably as another object in Fusion and then pull it into the model and maybe designate it as solid. That would be a lot of plastic to go into that though. And I'm not really too certain if it would be able to hold up to the forces that I'm portraying in this whole setup, because I really didn't put that much pressure into it. I just kind of hit the brakes and went crack, crack, pop, pop, and then fell onto my leg again. Oh, is this an "Are you still awake" warning? Hold on, check on that. Yeah, I'm still watching, you jerk off. Jeez, it goes for 8 minutes and then it stops. Yeah, so I think the only way around this is to just use a piece of metal. Just have a piece of metal so that there's enough room here for me to get threads in. Yes, the Netflix thing. Bonk. So yeah, that's the whole deal. We gotta make this out of metal. So once we get started, I mean, we're still start soon, so. I do kind of feel like, man, if I made that center section in hard plastic, if I did this and I made that solid, I could get away with this being plastic. Although in the back of my mind, it would always be like, well, I don't know. It could break away. What I might do is surround the metal with plastic, and that way it's sort of a more solid setup. Maybe I could do it that way. That would mean that I need to move the, probably this forward a little bit. I'd have to cut it forward a little bit, which is easy enough for me to do. I could just use an extrude. I moved this up just so that I would use more of the material on there, so there wouldn't be a flat section at the back around that hole. Because this is just an example of how I can use the material. I'm not going to be cutting the exact contours that I have laid out. I'm basically just going to shear it across that whole line. Can you use the plastic as a spacer only and use metal backing for the bolts? Yeah, that is pretty much the plan now. Yeah, that's pretty much the plan. Is if I machine this part out of aluminum, I can then print something that surrounds it and just makes it look like a little bit more of a, well, it'll keep like any of the wiggling forces from being a thing. Like because if I hit the brakes, it's going into the center, but if I hit the clutch, that's trying to like twist it to the side. So if I have the piece of plastic in here, maybe it'll just bolster it a little better, even though I think the flat surfaces will be enough for everybody because they'll be bolted with M8 bolts, which are not soft. They're pretty hard bolts. Yeah, I basically made a component that was the bar of aluminum that we're going to machine today. So this is an approximate dimension of the aluminum bar, and then I brought it into here and did just like a collision operation on it to try to utilize as much of the material as I could without it having a big flat section sticking out of one end. But also, like, I don't need anything sticking out of this end, so we can probably like get rid of some of this stuff. We'll see where we get if I don't fuck it up and blow up the piece of material and get sad. This angle is a bastard, is what it is. It's like 20 degrees, 21 degrees, I believe it is. It's such a weird angle for everything to be at. But that's based on this thing sitting flat. Pretty sure it has to sit flat. Because that resolved the pedal angle pretty nicely. That puts these in a nice angle. When you're sitting with the bottom of the seat, even with just below the pedals, it would have to be like down here. So I'm gonna need to machine one of these bars too. I'm gonna need to cut one of the big bars to make this. If that's where I'm mounting it, if I don't have something horizontal to mount it. I think I am gonna do vertical though, because that means you can adjust the pedals a little bit. But I'm disappointed with the shearing of this stuff. It seems like everything else held pretty solidly though, to be honest. I'm wondering if I could get away with plastic only, if I just solidify these guys on the bolts. That presses in there, and everybody else wants to pull upwards. But this seemed to be doing pretty well. I mean, it did okay. I hit the brakes once, so maybe I should get ahead of myself and say, you know, the distortion on the plastic bits right there from hitting the brakes one time is indicative of the absolute fucking failure of the whole thing later. That may be something that I need to take to heart, because there's a little bit of distortion there. You can see there's a little distortion right there from it pressing in. I think that's due to the bolt, but then that's the piece that ripped out almost entirely, actually. It's the whole column came with it, except for the bottom couple layers. Huh. And it's possible that would have ripped out on a solid plastic piece, huh? I wonder if I could have just tied these two together and then tie these two together. Just put like a solid bar right there. If it would then hold, I don't know. How's everybody doing though? It's Tuesday. We're going to try to solve this problem of mounting the pedals steadily so that I can move on to the steering column, because the steering column is the next part that vexes me. What? Wait. I thought you went like this. No, you do go like that. Does it seem like... Seems like this one tore out more material than just... Oh! Oh! Wait a minute. Is that a floating set? Yeah, it is. Look. Look. Just had a job interview and it went pretty well. That's awesome. I should do job interviews just for fun. You know, you get there, you put your gun down on the table. You say, so, what are you guys going to do for me? So this pulled up from the bottom layer. There's a gap right there. You can see the gap. This whole thing is now a floating column of plastic. And if I get my pliers... No, I can't grip it. Hold on. I can't grip it. My gripper's not gripping. Let's just use one of these. Nope, I'm going to bend it if I keep doing that. The grippers. He's got his grippers out. Ow. Stupid thing. Here, maybe I could just do this. Not quite. Not quite. The whole thing actually did shear off. It just popped out. So making it solid plastic would not maybe have solved all of the problems. Although this is the whole thing. Yeah, that's the whole thing. So maybe if the whole thing had more layers going outwards with solids, maybe that would actually hold together. I don't know. The J word is giving me PTSD. Oh, job. I'm so sorry that we had to say that in front of you. What is up with that? It's like the over censoring. It's just the whole algorithm manipulation thing that people do, where now we're over censoring ourselves on the internet. Like we used to be like filthy on the internet. What happened? Now we can't say job without people flinching and going, oh, the language is too strong on this channel. What happened to the filthiness of the internet? It's been lineaged down into inoffensiveness through advertiser money, a plague, the modern plague on our society. I'm going to keep saying it too. I'm going to keep saying it. As a professional internet clown, I can say the word job just fine. Because I'm not doing a good one. Okay, we should probably get started a little bit here, huh? Maybe. I've let enough people gather. We've got like 5 people watching that we can start. Not afraid to be canceled. Father said job. Nobody watches him anymore. Yeah, hi. Let's get the start soon out of here. And we can lower the music. Oops, wait, no. Don't mute the tab. Click the wrong thing. Pause. Hi, welcome to Twitch's Oh Bother, the show where I routinely break things that take 4 hours to print. We left off last time at an impasse. I did some iterative design, which means that I screwed up and made it better through the next design and had to print the entire thing again. And it turns out that after 2 4-hour prints, this thing is just not going to cut it. There are some very specific ways that this thing is physicsing itself into oblivion, and it is a huge waste of plastic every time I print it. I decided to go with what Short Lurker said at the end of the stream, and then I didn't do what he said. I actually, we chose, whatever the hell this is called, rectilinear. Rectilinear means that each subsequent layer goes on a different axis and skips the other direction. So we have these sort of scaffolding infill, which is really good for, like the top layer looks nice, right? That did just fine making a substrate for me to print on to make a solid object, but rectilinear does not compress well. And so in the use of my rectilinear print, we wrecked its linear. I mean, look at that. It like sheared itself into oblivion. Now, if you're looking at, like, what are we doing? This is the brake pedal assembly of something around like an E90. What is it? Mine isn't. Yeah, E90, an E90 BMW pedal assembly. So this has the clutch pedal and this has the brake pedal, and they feel like regular car pedals. The thing about them is, though, these are designed as force multipliers. These are designed in order to put more pressure into the thing you're doing so that you have a luxury car feel, but you're actually able to stop the luxury car without dying, usually. I mean, these things end up in junkyards enough that I'm starting to doubt their efficacy. But still, the brakes are designed to sort of multiply the amount of force using a moment arm, using a lever. Basic physics. This is all simple machines, right? And so that will press your master cylinder and then allow you to have lots and lots of force going into the ABS module and your brakes subsequently. So when we press on the brakes, what's happening is we are putting pressure through the load cell, which can take it. We've seen it. It can take that pressure. This is a little metal load cell, and this relies on an MEMS, a micro electromechanical system, MEMS. It basically, the metal bends in this thing just a little bit, and that's enough to slide resistors on top of one another, and that gives you a different voltage output. And so we have a chip that reads that, and then I have another chip that reads from that chip and talks to other chips that are in the simulator setup. But anyway, having a load cell on this means that this feels like the best braking system ever. There's no little tiny wiggling forces. You know, you kind of feel all that pressure going into the system when you hit the brakes on a normal brake lever. When you hit the brakes with this one, it's just a solid pedal, which begs me to make it feel like it's a cheap car. So I actually put this whole spring assembly on it so that you're fighting a spring at first and then it firms up. Even with all of that, it turns out putting that little bit of force into that center piston position pulls back on the two fastening pieces here, and you've got this giant swinging moment arm so that this one is sort of getting pressed in, this one is getting pulled out. That's actually the bolts back there, the ones getting kind of like twisted. And then these are just getting pulled on with the force of 1,000 suns. It turns out that even bolstering the actual print, you know, getting the infill to be grid instead of rectilinear, very soft and weak, everything pulled away and blew up. I added bottom layers, I added top layers, I added surrounds to all the bolts, about five layers of surround to all of the bolts. And when I hit the brakes, it sheared the bolt holes out. It eviscerated the bolt holes. So what to do in light of all of that happening? Well, one thing that I was thinking about earlier was that we could insert a plastic piece onto this and have it run all the way across to the holes over here. And so when you press on this hole, there would be enough plastic connecting it to the hole next to it and the subsequent holes over here that it wouldn't shear off. It would actually just pull on all that plastic, using, you know, basically pushing here and pulling here. Would it be able to use all that stuff, and, you know, it would properly pull back on it and it wouldn't explode. That might actually be something that happens because these four holes look totally fine. The amount of like twisting that this thing experienced didn't distort those holes at all. They don't really look pushed back. So if I go across these with a solid piece of plastic, hey, that might actually do something. But skipping that. I don't really necessarily need to do that. What I can do is just make a piece of metal that has all these holes in it. The problem is some of the holes are... Let me get to the conclusion, guys. I don't, you know, the idea farm is great, but you guys aren't smart. I don't mean that. You guys are smarter than me a lot of the time. I mean, the amount of force that goes into the brake pedal is significant enough to bend aluminum of this thickness. This is supported on the two side holes for the cylinder, and it did this to it. So that's what we're dealing with here, right? So, I mean, you can look at the title to see what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be machining. So I've already thought of making it out of metal, guys. Come on now, try to keep up. Oh, there's a title that says exactly, hey, I have an idea. Why don't you do the thing in your title? So yeah, this angle is 21 degrees. We know that because of the 3D model, the 3D scan, my lining it up and everything. Technically, I mean, at that angle, I think that's where the pedals sit the most accurate. I think so. Oops, hold on. I got something clicked here. Because that looks all right. And Flatulent GoNet will back me up on that. That if you put the top piece flat, this top bar here flat, it puts them at a pretty decent angle. So you've got the entire force of a 350-pound American bearing down on this piece right here. Shockingly, though, the 3D print of my cylinder adapter is in just perfectly fine shape. I mean, this is mostly a solid piece, and I didn't really think it would survive all that well, and it's fine. It's been doing just fine. It's been eviscerating its brethren in plastic printed materials, but it hasn't crushed in any way, in any meaningful way on its own, which is somewhat surprising, to be honest. I've still got all the files for these things too. I mean, if this one blew up, maybe I could put a Heim joint in there or something different, something just a little bit more metal. You don't need the brakes. That's true. I could delete the whole pedal. That would be just fine. And I'd have to use the transmission for braking. The clutch pedal felt great. I pushed in the clutch pedal and it was perfectly all right. It was just like, yeah, cool, man. Clutch pedal. Gotcha. I got you, dude. And then I hit the brakes and it just went pop. That's how my pedals are mounted, extruded aluminum. We're trying to mount it to the extruded aluminum. So one of the other solutions could be that I make a custom bracket that goes at that 21-degree angle. That's another thought that I had, is I could just make like an aluminum bracket that would do the 21-degree angle. Still think you need a car chassis? No, I don't. I'll show you guys what I did in just a minute. I just want to make sure that I'm doing my due diligence. You know, as much as I want to avoid being an engineer, there's that voice in the back of my engineer brain that's been beaten into me by math class after math class, that you need to do the research before you actually do the thing that you think you want to do, because you actually don't want to do it, because if you do the research, you could find a thing that would easily do what you need. So in that sense, I'm looking for a 40/40 rail bracket, 21 degrees. So I don't think 21 degrees is something that I can easily just buy. We can check 8020.net and see what they have. See, these are all right angles. That's most of the stuff that you're going to find for these things, because generally people are designing with right angles. They're not making the weird ones. That's not the Keltec way. What is it about Keltec? Don't they make guns? Isn't that guns? An ADHD engineer is the best. Not necessarily. Products, and we want fascinating. And we want 40 series. And we want, which is 40 series, apply. Central connector, what the hell is that thing? Fine, give me the cookies. Let's take a look at brackets. Maybe we should narrow it down to brackets. Hardware, variable angle connections, 32 items. Those are adjustable. That's a right angle. These, I've got some of these, not these specifically, but I've got two of these for the 2020 rails, and I think those will go into the handrails. Like, I think what I want to have is one of the armrests. I'll have it be able to like drop down so you can get into the setup. They don't research, they just do it. No, that's not, what are you talking about? Oh, Keltec does. Research is vital in engineering. It really is. If I got two of those things, I could make any angle, sure, but I don't know. Look at that. It's like, it's $30. Yeesh. $16 for this. I don't know. I don't like those odds. I mean, I guess if you tie it all down, it'll be nice and steady and solid. Looks ugly and expensive. You should be under no pretense that what we're about to create is going to be anything but an abomination. $40. I don't want to spend $80 to do this. Or $36. So that would be like $70 in order for me to put this at a special angle and have the rail be directly behind it. The other way to do it is to take a block of metal and drill a couple holes in it. That might be easier for me to do, to be honest. If we make our own 20 and then whatever the hell degree adapter this thing would sit at, and then there wouldn't be a right angle here, this would be like tilted up from back here, and that way we could actually get this to be a little bit further back in the system. You know what? I'm talking myself out of machining this today. I'll tell you how far into machining it I got. I went. We got it. This is all part of the background of the project. So hold on. I'm talking myself out of machining it, and I went all the way to the point of getting my rotary table, which we had in a previous project. Bonk. We tried to use this for 3D scanning. We put a motor on it, and a block of aluminum that I could use in order to make this one little bracket that could potentially break some of the aluminum on this thing. Back to the not easy complex stuff. So what we were going to do, what I was going to do, is clamp this thing in the vise. I keep forgetting what to call that thing. Clamp it in the vise. Use the, mark this, of course. Mark a halfway line on this. Drill for the bolts that go from the back of this to the rail. So drill the outer radius with an end mill. Probably actually drill the holes through the whole thing first, directly down, and then use an end mill, because it wouldn't matter if it's a what are they called? Not climbing. It's a end mill that cuts all the way to the center, but I wouldn't need that. So if I drill all the way through, I can use just a regular end mill to do the radius around the bolts. Do that, right? Those 2 holes. Then use those 2 holes to bolt it to the rotary table. And then I would take the rotary table, which is it's at right now, up to 21 degrees, 20-ish degrees, because we can funge it a little bit. And then take this to 45 degrees so that this thing sat at 45, and then take an end mill, face it, mark off the other holes that I have to put in it, drill them, tap the 2, and then that goes as an intermediary between this and the right angle bracket. That clamp is one of the super IR reflective things. Yeah, it long wave infrared bounces off of something that's cold and metal. This thing is cooler than the air around it, and so the warmer long wave infrared hits this, bounces off, and it looks like a mirror in the thermals. That's why it does it. It's because it's below the ambient temperature. If I were to heat this thing up, which would take me a little while, this would actually start glowing of its own. But it needs to be hotter than the stuff surrounding it, because then the reflective infrared is not as visible. Ugh, mechanical stuff. Yeah, I know. But I'm starting to think that getting a little piece here at that 21 degree angle might be a better option. And we can make out of plates. We can make it out of aluminum plates. And that way it's just a matter of finding out where the holes are supposed to go, which I'm not good at. Finding holes. Well, it depends on the holes. I'm good at finding some holes, not the ones you guys think. Oh my God, this thing is heavy. So instead of using this and making this weird, complicated, sort of bendy shaped object that's all, it's just going to be wrong. And I can't machine very close to this without hurting it. And I don't have a DRO. So maybe the better solution. Well, let me put heavy stuff over here and move heavy stuff over there and get this out of the way. Get all this fragile, namby-pamby shit out of the way. Make way for heavy metal. Manly heavy metal, yeah. Yeah, we're moving metal around the shop today. Yeah. I'm not going to put on my safety goggles. Yeah, manly stuff. All right, hold on. Let me get a little section of this stuff. I got a tiny little section of this. I think this is too small. Yeah, this is way too small. I mean, I've also got these things, but these are like 37 degrees. These are designed to be 2 45-degree bends, these little plates, and they're 440/40, and I bought them, and they're a little weak. I don't know. These might go to the steering column, though, so that I can have a taper on the sides of the steering column. Here's your beer. Get those safety glasses off. What are you doing? So, 40/40 does not quite fit the master cylinder dimensions, right? One of those bolts is enough, but what I could also do is put an angle bracket here. Brab love when I move heavy metal. I don't even know what accent to do on that. Brab love? Brab love when I move heavy metal. Okay, let's see. I don't know if it's that. That actually was my grandfather's accent. That's very similar to, my grandfather was from like northeast England. I don't know what place that is. It's very similar to flatulent gonad, but I think he said love a lot more. I love. He was a mason. It was very weird. His funeral was very weird because he was a Mason. I probably should have become one. Say, hey, my grandpappy was a Mason. Can I do your weird fucking rituals and then get like cool jobs? What am I looking for? I'm looking for one of the sections of, there it is, 4040 rail that I've got sitting around here. I could wear a funny hat. Put on the goggles. Look, it's alien technology. All right. Hell yeah, Hoss. Hell yeah, Hoss. We're gonna do some trucking. Then we're gonna look at women. Yeah. All right, let's put this thing away. So instead of using the rotary table to have this weird frickin' thing, I think maybe it'll be better just to drill holes in plates. And I can come up with a couple plates that will enable us to put this at the right angle. Oh, see, Strachan is having a meeting. They're not just leaving because they're appalled at my behavior. I was hoping they were appalled at my behavior. I'll have to make like a little, not a guide, but something that holds the end of the load cell against this, which I guess I could 3D print. We didn't get a really good inside radius of this thing though, because it's like, this is like a 3-dimensional shape. It like tapers inward a little bit. So it's, I don't know if I can really like hold something here in the middle, but I could make like a disc, or I could print something that takes up this inner piece that the brake pedal presses against. I think that would be the best way to do it. That might actually be the better way to do it. Okay, let's rethink this instead of going whole ham. Because what we were gonna do is use that rotary table in order to make this bracket. The problem with this bracket is that it's 45 degrees across 2 holes that are on a tilt of 21 degrees. So it is a cursed part. And with a rotary table, I would be able to render, you know, this square piece of aluminum. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. This square piece of aluminum into this thing. And this is just a quick form fit, so it wouldn't look like this, but it would be similar to this. And then I measured how many threads, how much threading would be in this hole. It's important that this one preserves enough threads to actually stay, you know, bolted in. I need a strong fit for that one. But instead, I think it would be better if we just bring this rail all the way to this hole. And the other hole will hang over the edge. I can put a like a gusset on that. I have gussets that I can file off the little bumps from, and then they'll be able to do a weird application like that. I think that's a much better idea. But then we have to put a flat piece on top of that, and I'm not sure if this flat piece would be associated with the steering rack, because the steering rack has to go much higher up than that. So I'm not sure if we can do this, but if we can at least get one piece of this thing at an angle, then we can kind of roll from there and figure out what to do next. What do you guys think about that solution? I'm not too certain about it myself. All this effort and you can't even drive to the store. This is I signed up for this. This is what I live for. I live for this shit, man. I love solving these problems. The alternative is that I take this part that I've hastily kind of concocted and I apply this to the 3D print so that everything this touches, and I'd have to trim it up a little bit, everything this touches is printed out of solid plastic. And so all of those moment arms would go into a lot of PETG, which I think would still make quite a bit of creaking noises. And we saw some minor deviations, some minor deflections of the material. You got to specify, because I talk a mile a minute. I talk too fast for some people to understand what I'm talking about. And my brain is all over the place. So we move about an idea a second here. Yeah, we could do some drunk driving streams. I think that would be very funny to do as well. If I do something like going into, I don't know, GTA doesn't do well with simulators, but just one game where there's, you know, plenty of consequence for running people over, and I can actually be in the simulator setup without endangering anybody's life but myself when I get in and out of the thing and end up catching my pants and pulling them down and then falling on my brain. So yeah, this thing pulled the entire column out, but in addition to that, there's a little bit of distortion around where the force went into it. So I'm thinking that if I do, or were I to try to realize this thing in plastic, you can see there's a little bit of deviation right there as well. Just that little line going vertically through this thing kind of indicates to me that this would not have survived very long. And it seems like eventually something would go wrong. So I am of a mind that I need it to be metal in order to maximize the amount of distance that this thing is from my feet. Because remember, sitting in this thing, my tippy toes can touch the bar all the way over by my recycling bin. My tippy toes can touch that bar, and I'm kind of a stumpy weirdo. Exhibit A, stumpy little legs. Mostly tree stump up here. But anyway, why are you guys having ideas? I agree with the idea of having the one T-slot be at an angle and lining up with the one screw hole. Yes, yeah, I think that might be the best way to do it. And that way I can bolt that beam. I can bolt that to the outside here, and we'll have maximum distance on the whole thing. What is oddly specific? If I had another one of these brackets, I could try to bend that at 21 degrees. That would probably be a good solution, but I don't think my bender can handle that thickness of material. So I think what we need to do is make two brackets that are at that angle, and we'll bolt to the outside two holes. So I need 2 and 2. Here, let's go, come on back over here. I've got plenty of aluminum that we can use in order to do this. Making the shape look good is going to be impossible, but but I can still make the bracket itself work out nicely. So I think we'll go forward with that idea, because it's just 2 aluminum plates that I'll need, and then we'll have a beam, maybe this length, maybe a little shorter. It doesn't need to be this long, but it'll be at 21 degrees. That means the height of the pedals isn't exactly adjustable, although I guess it can adjust along this thing. So that could be my height adjustment. Strong enough of a vise and large enough of a hammer, you can bend any metal bracket. That would be quite a bit of hammering, although we do have my American nut fucker here, which is also known as the linear motivator. This could get us to 21 degrees and well beyond. This is my linear motivator. I used to have the anode and the cathode marked on this thing, but now you just have to kind of go by the standard markings in order to figure out which end is the anode and which end is the cathode. But yeah, that, I mean, we've always got access to this. This thing had its debut, its finest moment was when we took apart a fidget cube. I said that I have to very carefully try to get to the seams of this fidget cube, and then I smacked it with this thing as hard as I could. Jeremy Clarkson's favorite tool. I do have a friend who actually was the embodiment of that. He basically would show up to help work on cars, and he would put a bag on the table and untie it and roll out a bag of varying sized hammers. That's essentially how he worked on cars. I got here just in time to see the kinetic adjustment tool. It's the I forget what we called it. It's all scratched up. It was something or other linear motivator. Anyway, all right, put that away before something explodes. So the idea is we've got to make 2 brackets that will essentially just take this thing to 21 degrees. Why in the world would I design that in CAD? There's no point. I'm not going to design it in CAD. We're just going to take some plates and mark them down and then cut them. So let's get some plates over here. Plates, mark down, cut. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Hold on, let me get a different view here. There you go. A little bit more comprehensive. Yeah, I think it was high speed. No, not high speed. Something linear actually. I forget, man. I don't remember things. I don't have what you kids call memory, but the memory remains. Well, let's make 2. This will probably make 2. This is pretty thick stuff too. I think this is appropriate for 40/40 rails. I think this is 4 millimeters thick. So we get the thickness over with this thing. Give us the thickness for the thickness. And we'll make 2 brackets with this thing that are at 21 degrees. I need one of those for my recent 3D print. Actually, to be fair, what we can do is design it in CAD, and then I can use that as an overlay in order to make... let's hold on. We'll design it in CAD. We'll design it in CAD, and then I'll 3D print a piece that I can use to trace, and then I'll have all the markings on my plate. It's perfect. It's perfect. I didn't want to make this another hashtag AutoCAD ad, but yeah, here we are. So I'm not, we don't need to preserve this model for any reason. I'll just take a piece of it here. We'll go off the top and we'll create a sketch on this surface. Create a sketch, bada bing. And then all I need to do is come in here with the sketch tools and we will make a box. We need to project this other solid on. And then I'm going to need a construction line to get the center, like that. And I mean, just for sharts and gargles, I guess what I can do is make a copy of this beam. So move copy, move. Ooh, it's up here. And then we got that. Tool, create a copy, move the copy up, and then we're going to angle it 21. I don't have a precise, I mean, I guess what I can do is take it from dot to dot and take it from here to here. Hold down Control to lock those like that. There we go. That'll help me get all my distances correct. So here's the problem is, if I go back to the sketch now, where's my beam? Where did my beamist go? The problem is, when you go into a sketch, it rolls your timeline back. So what I need to do is just take this step and push it all the way up to the front here. And now if I go into the sketch, both of my beamists are there. Is it 21 degrees or is it 69 degrees? You're right, it is 69 degrees, isn't it? It's 21 off of this, not 21. Yeah, it needs to be a different, this is the wrong angle. Well, nothing lost. Let's just finish the sketch. Okay. Hello. Hello. There we go. Let's see. So that was the wrong 21 degrees. Let's take it back to this step. Are we back in that step? We're not back in that step. Take it back to this step. Take it, double click, back to the, hello. I guess that's this, okay. And then move it again. Move copy, and then we're gonna angle, specifically choose the angle tool. You guys can't see it, it's all the way over here. I've got the thing is a little bit, let me narrow down my window. Narrow the window. I've had to kind of like teach myself to use CAD all the way to the left, just because of the way my my stream is structured. Okay, so now spinny tool, and the axis I'm selecting is going to be, can't be that. It needs to be the center of this, but I can't really choose the center of that, can I? Choose this, but that's the wrong axis. I need it to be, all right, so we'll just twist it and then move it again. So take this until it's flat. Oh, nope, cancel that. All right, never mind. Hold on. Maybe I can Control Z myself out of this. Yes, that's the ticket. There, okay. Okay, you here, move copy. Actually, just take this one because it's already at the right orientation. Move copy. Create a copy. And then move it upwards. No. Damn it. This is supposed to be easy. See, it's when you change tools that it unclicks create copy. That always throws me for a loop. All right, so we're creating a copy, we're moving it. And then I'm taking it forward like that. -21. And now we point to point for this point here. Hello? Where's it? Point. Select. Why isn't it letting me? Do I need to do two? Oh, wait, that's not point to point. There we go. That was anchor. Okay, so point to point from here to here. There we go. Okay, so that's going to mimic this face here. I probably could have just moved it onto this face and that would have angled it already. Fine, whatever. I mean, I could have also just put it down on top of this and then that's actually a much better... Okay, here's the way I would have done it if I was a professional at CAD software. So bring this model back in. Oh, finish the sketch first of all. And then take this and then do move copy. And then I want to create a copy. And then I take it so that... Actually, if I do face to face, I don't think it's going to tilt it. Well, let's see. Oh, hold on. Create a copy. Point to point. Create a copy. Take... Oh yeah, it doesn't let me... It's not letting me select stuff. What's going on here? Okay, so two different steps. Move and copy. This one. Create a copy. Move it anywhere. Okay. Now, take this component, move it, point to point, choose this face, and go to the center of the face, and then choose this face, and go to this part of the face. It did not tilt it. Okay, it didn't tilt it. Select the axis that I want it to tilt on, which could be pretty much anywhere, which is this right here. And we'll move you 21 degrees. And then we're going to move it again before we lock everybody in position. Move copy, point to point, this to, and I don't need this to be in there. Or no, this to be in there. Move it to there. There we go. So that's at the same angle as our object, and it's in the right position so that it looks all right with everybody else. So now I can keep that one in. I can get rid of this. Well, I don't really want to. I want to keep the beams in there. I can get rid of this body, and then I can bring back in this if I want to, and it can display that it's at the same angle. It does not, however, line up for the bolts, but that doesn't matter to me right now. What matters is making a bracket between these two. So this kind of hectic section is where we can just put our initial design. Why is this to the side a little bit? What is, wait. What? Why did it, oh, because it moved it when I did the move operation. Why? Doesn't matter, doesn't matter. I kind of liked it in the other position where it was way up there. Yeah, just put it back to where it was before. Do we have that in the control Z's here? I don't think we have it in the Z's. Yeah, we don't have it in the Z's. I liked it in the other one. I can't create a copy. What? Oh, because it thinks I want to move a body. What is it with everybody and thinking that I always want to move a body? Hey, I need help moving a body. I can't copy it. Why? What? Why can't I copy it now? The CAD program's going crazy. What? I'm not still in the sketch tool. Hey, what's up, Madam You? How you doing? Why won't it let me move it? Or copy it, rather. That's so weird. What? Oh, did the window the window resized. That's what it was. The window resized itself and I didn't think I had the option. Create a copy. Use this kind of move. Yeah, see, and then it changes. Why isn't that auto-sizing itself? I feel like I'm troubleshooting this version of the software. All right, move it there, twist it, bop it. And I'll use this one and we'll go this way. And we're going to go negative 21. Okay, and then we'll do a point to point on this piece here. And point to point, take this center, and I'll move it over to this center right here. There. That's a little bit more like I want it to be IRL. Okay. Now we can design a thing. Jeez. That body. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so now I need to basically lock everybody down and then move the sketch up to the latest so that when I double click on the sketch, I get all the beams in one thing and I can project this face, and then tie them together with a center line. Although for this one, I'm going to need probably here to here, and then here to here. So I can take here and go all the way down, although it does give me a right angle, and these are not going in as constructions. I'll turn them in a second. Just hit the X key to do that. Construction lines don't end up making enclosed solids for you. They're just sort of background projections that help align everything. Okay. Now we're set for success. So the plate, I guess it comes out to here. So we've got this area. I mean, overshooting it would mean that it looks kind of weird. Underdoing it, I guess that's just the way it is, yeah? So we'll take it 2 holes down this way. So that means we have 2 holes that are 40 millimeters apart. That means we have a circle, non-construction circle. That would be, what are we doing? We're doing M8 because we need all that strength. We're going to need that. I need my calipers. Where are my calipers? Calipers. Okay. Yeah, the 3D print will just help me cut out all the different parts without having to spend a ton of time marking. What's going on? NeanoCat, sub to the Prime. Thank you so much, NeanoCat. Okay, it's a 7.87. So we're going to need like 8.2 on these holes. So 8.2. And another 8.2. And then a construction line between them with a distance on it of, let's just say, 40 millimeter. And that needs to be a construction line. Bonk. Okay, so now I can move that about. I don't know. It should be pretty close to the top, I guess. Hey, what's up, cover? How big is my material here? I mean, I got to fit both of the brackets on this thing. And we're dealing with 130 by like 170, so I guess it'll be okay. It'll probably fit. This is so much easier than the weird angle machining that we were going to do. So the distance from the top, let's just get that in there. Let's put another construction here to here. And the distance of which, using the D key to get to the distance. As soon as it's done thinking, distance on that one of 20 millimeter maybe? That's a little bit much. That's going to make it like a huge bracket. I don't think that'll do it. Maybe we'll do 10 in. Okay, keep thinking about it, please. Every time I hit escape, it has to go through all of its constraints. Why is it so slow? All right, 10 millimeter on that. So now we do the same thing for the other one. Let's make these a little closer together. We'll put them a good 20 millimeter apart. That seems too close. That was closer. You went the wrong way. Is that going to be able to withstand the forces that I'm putting through it? Maybe. Maybe, perhaps. That is kind of small for this stuff, but... Oh, how big are the fasteners? The fasteners go down from center, and they go... I thought I had one on the table here. Isn't there one of them? One of them little guys over here? No, maybe not. Oh, there it is. Okay, so these things go... How far? Yeah, these things go like 15 millimeters apart. So I probably need these to be a little further apart. Plus the bolt heads are kind of big, so maybe we'll make that... Well, put this down... Put this down like 15 millimeter. And then that can remain... Now, maybe this should go 30. Yeah, that's probably better. So it's what, 15 and then 30. So we go on the same thing over here, construction line, line out, that goes 15, donk, and then this one goes out 30. Oh my God, the angle thing's everywhere. And we just match that up right there. And then I'll put circles around them. And those are 8.2. 8 Mark II. There we go. Okay, so now the surround. Do we want like a... I'm not going to do curves. Let's just do straight lines on this. And then our 3D print will just be like an impression of what the final shape should look like. So that would be going out how far? 60. Yeah, that'll be good. And unconstruction that line. 60 out, 60 down. And then we'll just take solid lines and connect everybody. So there to there, here to here. This will come out this way. And down. What I'm doing is enclosing this thing so that we have an extrusion. And then we'll print it, and it'll take, 5 minutes to print. We're not going to use the print. We're simply going to, okay, goodbye, everything's gone. Finish the sketch. Where am I? God? Oh, here we are, okay. All right, so E for extrude, donk. You, not you, you. I'm out. 4 millimeters? Yeah, let's just make it a virtual bracket. You did not have to correct the C at the end. I understood you. Unview the sketch. This is not supposed to be a hashtag AutoCAD ad, although I probably should have taken credit as another hashtag AutoCAD ad, but it turns out making a 21-degree tilting bracket is way easier than what I was going to do. And then perhaps with some of the leftover material, I can make a bracket that'll go to the right angle, although I'm not sure if I'm doing that yet. So we're going to try this, making 2 of these, and see if that can stand up to the forces of braking. It probably will be able to, although it probably does need something to bolster it up above. That'll be maybe a different angle, though. That may be a different angle bracket going up to where the steering attaches. So that's something we have to continue to build up on the simulator setup. Right now, I just want to make 2 of these guys. So let's get that thing printed. I'm going to call this 21 bracket, 21 jump bracket street. Save as mesh. And then the mesh, I'm not going to edit any of the settings on. Click OK. See users oh bother desktop temp prints, save. And away it goes. And away it, okay, there we go. Bonk. And so now I can go into Super Slicer, which, you know, listen, I'm not a professional at 3D printing. Actually, I kind of am, but Super Slicer works, so I haven't felt the need to like upgrade away from it. It seems like every single day, these 3D printer nerds are completely reinventing how every part of their 3D printer works. And I can't keep up with that. So what I have works. It just works. ToddHoward.exe. Temp prints, 21 bracket, bada bing. Put that down on the surface. Slice it. It will take a whopping total of 30 minutes to print. Let me just make sure that my print settings are back to where they were. 3 minimum, 0.8, solid layers, 6 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Yeah, I believe that's where they were. I think that's where they were. Infill should not be, yeah, it's still on gyroid. Okay, so it didn't save my settings when this computer like blew up and restarted. So back over to the printer camera. I need to power on the printer and get it started. The printer sat for like 7 months unused, more like 6, but still it sat for a long while. Oh my God, unused. And so I booted it all back up. And it turns out it worked just fine. I did not expect that. It worked just fine. I wish you guys could get a better view, but the camera cable is under all the stuff that's on the desk. If the camera cable was on top of the stuff on the desk, I would gladly put you in this chair right here, and you guys could watch from the cook chair. But instead, you'll have to assume that I'm turning on the printer, powering it up. I guess I could like angle this a little bit, and you guys would get a better view, but whatever, I've got rails over here that I need to deal with. Basically, all of my simulator stuff has used the frame rails of varying types depending on what era I was working on it in. And so making this overall sim setup is a natural progression, and it also frees up a whole lot of excess. Oh yeah, that's the bowl of chili that I had for lunch. Don't worry about it. It just works after the 3rd community patch and the script extender added. Yeah, no. I'm not doing all that crap with my printer. I don't know, man. 3D printer guys are weird. It's always like when I open up the slicer, they're always just like, oh, ho, ho, look at this. How cute, you know? Oh, that's cute. The patch fixes in Bethesda games are incredible. Yeah. Why is Octopi.local not coming up with anything? I mean, that's what Octopi local. Oh, what? Why does it keep HTTP octopi.local? Where was I going? With the slash in it? Is that what set it off? Yeah, that's what set it off. That's so fucked up. Stop trying to remember passwords, Firefox. I wish I could turn that off. I can, I just haven't been too lazy. This isn't secure. Hey, shut the fuck up, Firefox. I'm so sick of you trying to manage all my passwords. The reason that I have passwords is so that I don't store them in my browser. We've lost sight of that, haven't we? I'm pretty sure that I can't just connect. Try. Let's see. I'm happy with my Prusa Mark IV. I need to buy the MMU3 before it becomes unobtainium. Discontinued hardware. Interesting. I don't know what any of that is. I know what Prusa is. Prusa's a good company. How am I going to drill into this thing? I guess I'm going to have to like open the vise up and just use my drill press as a drill press. And then we'll use the bandsaw. I'll get the bandsaw up on the table over here and we can cut out the outline. And then, I don't know, maybe I can like clean it up on the sander connecting ... Yeah. I think I need to restart the Raspberry Pi. This is going to take a minute. Proceed with a reboot. Oh, copper. You always go right for the Ferrari. You need to start with the little things in 3D printing instead of worrying about multiple extruders and all that stuff. Start with the clunky little Honda Civic. We got to give the Raspberry Pi a little bit of time to restart. I wish I had like an automation, like a script for this, because I keep the Raspberry Pi powered up and then I turn off the rest of the printer, and that ends up confusing Octoprint. Maybe if I went to a different system, but this is Octo Clipper, so Clipper's built into it, and it's nice. I like it. Everybody says to go with Mainsail. I don't really know how Mainsail works. Maybe that would be a good idea to try out, but it seems like ripping off a big old Band-Aid, right? Don't turn off the printer. I don't want to keep it powered up at all times. It's got a big power supply in it. Don't wait, reload now. Oh, I hate you so much, Firefox, and your password manager. Okay. Clipper says standby, but none of this stuff is highlighted. Connect. Now we connect and we get a firmware version. So now what I need to do is my little check to see that everybody's happy. So what I do is I do BL Touch down, and I hear a click. We would be able to see the BL Touch change colors, but I can't move this camera. BL Touch up, good. Bed's looking somewhat dust-free, so we can just go ahead and print this thing. So now I need to go back to Super Slicer. Do I want to put two of them down? No, we'll do, well, it'll take a significantly longer amount of time, but it will be a more accurate representation of what we're actually doing here. Why not? How long is that going to take to print? An hour. I don't want it to take a whole hour. No, we'll 37 minutes is fine. We can't have luxury items today, like multiple brackets that give us the right angle. Upload and print. Password manager on Firefox doesn't even work half of the time. How do I turn that off? Let's look that up while the printer warms up. While the printer warms up, I'm going to look up how to turn off that. Preferences, settings, password. Network settings, passwords. Ask to save passwords. Click. Oh, look, I can just look at my saved passwords. Yeah, no, don't ask to save passwords, you freaking piece of shit. Okay, there, that's corrected on this browser. I haven't even signed up for a Firefox account. I don't want that data. I don't want to give them that data. So my settings do not persist across browsers. I'll have to set it up in my other browsers. We're warming up. Warming up. This thing is going to do a whole bed leveling operation. I don't really think it needs to every time. I should set up that script that has it only do it every 10 prints or something. Because once it... Well, the thing is, like, the gantry needs to be corrected too. Because on this printer design, when the gantry is crooked, it's because the brackets and the bolts and stuff are in there. And so making your printer correct it leads it to spring back into being tilted again. So you have to have it measure every single time and correct every single time. It's going to say that when it does that, it'll say it's off by like a millimeter. It'll be like plus 0.15 or something like that. That's not a millimeter. It's off by like fractions of a millimeter, but still. An NMU is the filament switchy boy. I see. Yeah, I don't know about dealing with those multi-head 3D printers. It's like more stuff to go completely wrong. It seems like you would be even more involved. I like having this setup where I just have a direct drive extruder using a decently strong filament of PETG that allows me to print things just right away. It's not fast. It's not terribly accurate, but it allows me to build stuff Why does it smell like something is melty temperature? I smell... Shouldn't be able to smell this thing. It's PETG after all. Maybe there's something on the bed that's kind of toasty smelling. Maybe it's just the semblance of heat. It's very cold out today. It's like, for you guys, it's like -8 degrees outside right now. -8 degrees Celsius. Is this some kind of an error? What's going on? Oh no, it just started. Okay. So this is where it does the right to left bed leveling. Probe samples exceed tolerance. Retrying. Making the following Z adjustments. -0.24, -0.37. Why are they both negative? wait a second. Huh? All right, well, now we're just doing the overall bed leveling. Every single time. This is the part that takes more time than the print itself. Mahalo subbing with a tier 1 for 77 months. Hey, Mahalo, thank you so much for subbing. I appreciate that very greatly. Tip tap, tip tap, tip tap, tip tap. I've been shaking like bacon pancakes today. I love that multi-language dub video of the Making Bacon Pancakes song from Adventure Time. Orosito, mega orosito. Like, it's so awesome. It's like in Greek and stuff. Oh, it's so catchy and stupid. I love it. Making Bacon Pancakes is a little song that Jake did as just a throwaway thing. And with most Adventure Time songs, it's like the timing's all off and everything because it's just the voice actor having fun. And Adventure Time, being as popular as it is in tons and tons of different languages and dubbed into tons of different languages. Sometimes the original voice actor does the dubbing. Oftentimes there's some very famous dubbing voice actors that participate. And so somebody compilated all of the different language versions of Making Bacon Pancakes. And it's really fun. Where are you going? Come back. One last little bed level. That last one is not necessary. And now we start our print. It says 15% done. I guess just for the bed leveling procedure. Print time left, 31 minutes and 43 seconds. So we're going to get through this. I'm going to move the camera just a little bit. Get a better shot. We're going to print one of our brackets, and then I have to let it cool. I have to let the printer cool entirely because this is a flat part, and flat parts will distort, they'll bend if I don't let the printer fully cool. And that always causes issue. What in the heck? Where is this coming from? Is that part of the line? That's part of the line. We're doing our 3 perimeters. And that just gets the filament flowing. It gets the pressure into the nozzle properly. The pressure into the nozzle. This is going to be 4 millimeters thick. It did not need to be 4 millimeters thick. I could probably have made it like 1, and then it would be 3 layers and done. I'm making essentially the bracket just virtually, you know, just for funsies. And I can then scribe the bracket onto the plate, and we can use that as our guide for the drilling that I need to do. I guess I should probably drill out the corners too. Drill just next to the corners so that I can use the bandsaw to properly cut out all of the excess material. Maybe we got to put these up against the edge too. Yeah, look at it go. I wish it was CNC cutting the aluminum instead of 3D printing it, but we work with the tools that we've got, you know? We gotta make it work, chat. I gotta make this work out. It's all I got. It's all I got. I hope this isn't too close for the bolt hole spacing. I think it's okay. It should be okay. Now, once this first layer goes down, then the rest of the printing is scot-free, but we got to babysit it on this first layer. This first layer is when things will like pull up from the bed, or it'll accidentally roll a booger of PETG. And if it rolls a booger of PETG, that can ruin everything. So we kind of babysit it on this layer. Once you get your print settings right, though, this is nice and smooth. And it just works out every time. There's just like, with PETG, there's just a little bit of a squish. And the most frustration I've ever had at a 3D printer was trying to troubleshoot why it was rolling the PETG. And it turns out the heat break, the little neck between the extruder and the thing that advances the filament, the little thing that's supposed to keep your entire 3D print head from becoming plastic melty, was bent. It was impossible to see. But what would basically happen is when it moved along the axis of the bend, then part of the PETG was getting squished, and the other part was getting lifted by the print head. And so it would roll the PETG under it. It needs to be at a pretty decent right angle. The aluminum CNC cutting would make so much noise that all of us would be deaf. That's maybe a little bit of an exaggeration. You're sounding like my mother with the temperatures outside, worrying endlessly about, oh my God, everybody's going to be horrible. It's going to be terrible. It's too cold out and everything's going to freeze and you got to watch out for Willow's paws and this, that, and the other thing. And then I go outside and Willow's out there just naked because she's a dog. And she is just the happiest dog in the entire world. Willow loves this weather. But Pennsylvania right now is going through some very cold and snowy weather. It's very cold here. It's very snowy here. And my dog loves every minute of it. And then some. She loves it. She was just romping out there today. It was very fun to watch. You gotta have a corgi that bounces around in the snow. In the snow. I never thought we'd get deep snow up here in Philly ever again, but this year is proving me wrong, which is good. Everybody hates snow but me. I like it. I enjoy it very much. I don't get what it is about people around here to just vilify the snow. Everyone needs the experience of a short dog bouncing through snow. It's true. It's true. It is an instant stress reliever. Even her corgi buddy was put off by how excited she was for this weather. The neighbors have a very similar looking corgi. He's a little bit bigger because he's a male, and he's got a tail, but he's also a fluffy corgi, and he was nonplussed on our walk, whereas Willow was bouncing everywhere. She was so happy. Look at that beautiful first layer. I fought hard for this. Never forget what they took from us. This first layer, to get the settings right, it was a struggle. And every struggle along the way, I would go to my chat and I would go to the 3D printer section of the Discord and go, oh man, I'm having such and such trouble with my printer. And everybody said, dry your filament, turn down the temperatures, dry your filament. And I would say, no. I don't think I will. And then my chat would go, Isildur! And then I would turn the temperature up and it would actually improve prints. The temperatures are shocking. The bed is at like 90 degrees. Ah! The bed is at like 90 degrees, but it's not actually at 90 degrees. It's just the other side of the glass is being heated to 90 degrees. I had you guys propped up on some rails, and they kind of gave way. This footing won't give way. I put you guys on top of the pile of crap that I moved over there. It was not a good move. I was under the impression that the first 3 layers were a battle. It's the first layer for PETG, because after that, you've got if you have all your gap settings proper, you're basically just laying filament down on top of the filament that's already there, and it'll stick pretty nicely. That's my experience. The first 3 layers Not so much. It's the first layer, and once that's down, everything is honky-dory. With other types of plastic, though, you will have trouble. With PETG, it is an extremely sticky filament, and so once it goes down smooth, it'll stay down smooth. The eternal pile. Yeah, it's unfortunate that in a shop like this, an open surface is an invitation to put stuff down. I need to get that under wraps because most of the surfaces around me are completely inundated with stuff. And it's all project stuff and it's all good stuff, but it's still stuff that shouldn't be there. So I need to work on that a little bit. And that motor that's sitting under the gantry as it moves, that motor is supposed to actually be the blower motor for the printer. I do not have a fan. I was going to put the CPAP fan, which is a 3-phase blower motor, and it's very quiet if it's properly driven. The driver that I have for it was kind of loud, but you can get ones that are silent. And so if I turn it into a silent 3-phase motor, that would make for a very good blower motor on this setup. You can get quite a bit of air out of it too. It's the best project that I could think for it. The other project that I would want to do with that thing is like a powered respirator, but I'm not exactly going to Burning Man anymore, so I don't think I'm going to find myself back at Burning Man. If I was, I would want to make a little belt-slung blower, CPAP motor powered positive air pressure breather for a dust storm. But I don't think I'm going to find myself back in the desert, so I think I can use it for the 3D printer. The 3D printer gets some of the nicest stuff in the shop. The oscilloscope gets the nicest power cable. The 3D printer gets the nicest power supply and stuff. We've got an industrial power supply in this thing, and that came from one of those free cycle things where I got all this stuff that an electrician had been hoarding their whole life. So I've got like a hard hat with a name on it that's not mine. And I've got like various electrical tools and like belt slings and stuff. And among it was this weird industrial Windows computer that we haven't done anything with yet. I think I wanted to use it to power the CNC router that I will eventually make. I got parts for it. And a Morton Joe breather thing. No. You just get a normal like face mask, and you have a filter on that little motor down there. The real ones, I looked them up. There are, you know, it's like a completely normal thing for like sandblasting jobs and stuff like that, where you have a respirator that's positive, and you have a little filter pack on your belt. It's not a Morton Joe thing. It's like a normal industrial thing. The only problem is the real ones are built to keep you alive, and so they're like $300. So I was gonna just build a simple one. Not gonna lie, it's really impressive that those paper clamps are enough to hold your printing bed. That's all you need. They're opened much of the way too, so they're actually super duper springy at that distance. Embedded windows, yeah, it's meant for like a DIN rail setup. That little machine. No fans on it or anything. Yeah, at the distance that they're at, those butterfly clips are painful. Painful amount of clamping force. Yeah, we're waiting on the print. We don't have much choice. Got to wait on the print. Is there any infill in this? Let me check with the slicer. At 4mm, there might not be. There's nothing. It is solid all the way through. Oh no, there's a little bit of infill. There's like 3 layers of infill before we get to the massive number of top layers that this thing insists on. I've seen a lot of those that run a 486 CPU and MS-DOS. I think that's probably, this was meant for Windows XP, I believe. It's a Windows XP machine. Oh, we're already at the gyroid layers. Nice. Nice. Let's see this on the tray. 46%. You guys have made it to the halfway mark. Congratulations, everybody. I could install this and then put the brakes on it and we could watch it crumble. What forces would it experience? I think it would crack the plastic, even though it's solid on that dimension. I think it would blow up the plastic. The bolt holes would be fine. It's the piece that goes between the two rails that I think would blow up. Yeah, I don't know which CPU that thing has in it. What machine is that? It's sitting right over there. I just don't want to go get it. The GE logo on it is the power button. All right. No, Windows XP. No, no, no. Close. It's this type of thing, but it's a little older than that. Ah, doesn't come up. My specific one does not come up. That's XP. I wonder if is a Windows 9. No, it couldn't be 98. It's too old. Huh. They got the space pinball. Surprised it's not more ATMs and medical equipment like ultrasounds. I mean, a lot of Windows type operating systems run those systems. No, this is this thing here. Bring it over. Like there's embedded Windows that is in a lot of systems that you wouldn't know about. This thing is a cellular modem. I'd want to replace it with a Wi-Fi modem, but it's just this little Windows. What is it? Oh, Windows 7 Pro. This is a Windows 7 machine. Why are we hearing all these weird noises? What are these noises? I'm hearing. That's a weird. You're making weird noises. Why are you making this is weird noise? What's going on? Why are we making weird noises? Is that just a result of the gyroid operation? It might be. I haven't done the gyroids in a little while. We did rectilinear on this thing. Is it the sound of speed? I wouldn't call this speed. What's going on right now? I don't know if I would necessarily be referring to whatever this is as speed. Beep, 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 beep. That's the noise it's making. I wonder if there's a loose fastener somewhere. Could be. I guess the solution right now is just to turn the radio up until you can't hear it. This is the power button, the GE logo. But this is meant to go on like a DIN rail setup and mount just a little bit off of the back of the enclosure so that air would go over all of these heat sinks and keep it cool. I don't think I put any Loctite on it, to be honest. That's maybe a shortfall on my part. It's got a little memory card thing and then a VGA monitor, COM port, and then network ports. I guess there's a headphone. Even this thing has a headphone output on it. It's got a little jack right there. What is it called? 250 gigabyte hard drive. There's no hard drive on this. It's an ICR XIBN 7M000A. ICRX IBN. ICRX IBN. No, that's not the line. ICRX IBN 7000. No. Oh, ICR 7000. ICRX. No, you changed it. ICRX IBN. Unless I look up 24DC Assembled in USA. GE Intelligent Platforms. Just GE ICRX. Oh. 7,000. No, not RX. Home Depot. Two-piece kitchen. Icometrics. This does not look like the right thing. Global Standard Brain and Imaging AI back. Healthcare, Alzheimer's. Yeah, I know how that feels. GE Field Agent ICRX IBN 7000 for $89. Yikes. $90 for the $2,690. There we go. That's what we're looking for. And there's probably something wrong with it. That's probably why it ended up in the hands of the free cycle person. For classic automation. Used and refurbished for $2,690. Hey, come to me first before you buy it from this website. Still holds value? Well, yeah, because in the systems that it's in, it's probably a crucial part, right? It's probably kind of a crucial part. That's what happens to older like motherboards and stuff too, is why the price suddenly goes way up, is because it's if somebody embeds something like that and it becomes required and it becomes no more like it's not manufactured anymore, then what's left of stock of new pieces that still works are highly sought after by places that can afford to spend $2,000 on something like a little tiny computer that's barely more powerful than a pocket calculator. We're getting there. We're probably like 60, 70% done. 60. 65. 66. Explains why the Raspberry Pi is trying to get their compute modules into embedded systems so much. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't really the philosophy that Raspberry Pi used to have, but I guess now, yeah. Now, yeah. Trusting something industrial to a Raspberry Pi is not maybe a great idea, because the Raspberry Pi was built on the philosophy of using cell phone processors in order to make a system that was cheap that could do pretty powerful computer stuff. Whereas with an industrial computing module, you want to make sure that it has a really wide operation temperature capability, and it, you know, all the stuff inside of it is all proven out and stuff. It's why in older systems you'll see like 386 style stuff being used, because they've had more time to vet out the systems to know that it will work reliably in a particular way for a long time. Yeah, noise immunity and all that stuff. Vibration resistance on the components, and they, you know, they know that XYZ system is very old, but it also fails in a particular way that they know how to anticipate. And so that makes it a really valuable system to use in something rather than the new greatest thing that's out yesterday. Getting there, we have, I mean, so far this is pretty much like all we need. I could probably stop the print here. We're just going to let it finish because it's only going to take another 10 minutes. Might as well just follow through. And actually that layer is looking pretty good. I can probably lower it down from 6 layers. 6 layers is maybe a little bit too much. Let me get my flashlight and take a look at how this like 4th or 5th layer looks. Yeah, there's still a little evidence of there being infill behind it, although this one that's going in now is looking pretty good. There's like a little bit of a bumpiness. Ooh, and that little separation up there, look at that. Weird, it's like a big old gap. My temps might be actually a little bit high, to be honest. Might need to lower that. Oh, this is going to be mostly solid plastic. What nozzle size? 0.4, and it's a what do you call it? Hymeria hot end, 0.4 millimeter nozzle, and it's one of the ones that has the heat break as part of the nozzle. I figured I could be done with the titanium heat break and just be able to replace the whole thing. And that way, if it crashes again and bends the heat break, I just replace the whole nozzle. Yeah, standard size. I could probably go with like a larger one. I should experiment with that a little bit because it makes for much faster printing. And considering what we're printing right now, would not really suffer from the layers being big. It would be perfectly fine. I'm not printing out perverted anime statues, you know? I don't need that accuracy. One thing that worries me is that I'm going to have to redesign this. This is the slip ring. It's got small bolts on the outside, big bolts on the middle piece, and this went around the collar that went on the motor. So this needs to now go on the steering column. I don't actually, this might be too small for the steering column. We might need to redesign this part. That, or I'll need to drill this out to be much wider, and then we'll have to devise. I mean, maybe I'll just use the perimeter bolts on both pieces, and maybe that'll be the way that it does. Because right now the way that it is that the steering column comes out of here, and then the steering wheel goes right on the front of it. And so this is a little bit larger than the shaft, and this is the size of the shaft coupler. But that shaft coupler is going to be in a totally different location with the adjustable steering rack. So yeah, I'm going to have to probably drill that out, which I can do. There's nothing circuit-wise in that area. It's just whether or not the pressure on the outside holes is enough to give us that slip ring functionality. Be a lot of 3D designing going on around that. Getting a lot of these banner ads for my ISP, as if they haven't been having internet blackouts intermittently for the past few weeks. Banner ads for the IP. That's obnoxious. That is obnoxious. We're almost there. We got, well, it says 7 minutes, and then we got to wait for it to cool down. Very soon we shall have bracket in hand, and I didn't have to think about numbers at all, which is always a good day. Oh, I didn't send the second picture? Oh, weird. Oh no, I must have hit paste in the admin section. Let's see, what am I looking for? Admin section, there we go. They even have the audacity to claim that they're the most reliable according to Consumer Reports. Jeez, that sounds obnoxious. It's like, no, you're not. You lie to me. I see you lying right to my face. Unbelievable. Point 2 is for pervs. Oh, I already read that. Yeah, I don't know about the second bracket. The second bracket would probably be coming down off of the steering column, and I still have to figure out what the height of the steering column is, and if in the Mercedes it's kind of tilted. I don't know if it's tilted or not. I think it might be a little bit. The whole thing, I feel like it's going to look like a train. It's going to look like I'm building like a train setup when I'm done, because it'll have all these it'll be like that. It's going to be so stupid. It's going to look like something that you'd build in Space Engineers. And it's either I do the tilted parts or I do it all flat and it's just all a bunch of squares, which may end up, that's what it may end up looking like, to be honest. TBQH. Once I get the steering stuff down, I'll be able to do the armrests and stuff too. It's more of the good stuff. What a month this has been working on this stupid project. I guess 2 months. It's kind of been 2 months working on it, hasn't it? We're making progress though. Oh yeah, I was supposed to figure out what kind of processor does this thing have in it. So GE PAC Systems ICRX 7E1000. 24 volt, 1.8 amp. The device is an estate sale find. Yeah, so is mine. How many of these ended up in estates? A bunch of electrician people died and left these things to be pawned off on eBay and stuff. It's getting built bit by bit. Yeah, I've been focusing on it. How many dead guys of these computers? Wait, how far down did I have to go to find it? Oh, I had to go into these, yeah. Okay, so from the $2,000 one, classic automation, revision AB, refurbished. Yeah, it would, like, if I empty it out, maybe I could put a Raspberry Pi in there or something. I don't know what the power supply situation is with it, too. Last estate sale I went to had an industrial lubricator. Why do you not then have an industrial lubricator? Come on now. The last estate sale that I went to had my industrial lubricator. Oh, they didn't put any information in this. Unit powers on and initializes. How do you know? Power supply used to test this unit is not included. Didn't really say much about it. We found a data sheet at some point, but I'm not sure what kind of system this would run as a Windows, was it XP machine? Windows 7 Pro. Actually, that's pretty good. Windows 7 Pro. Eye exams in under 1 minute. Wim Van Hecke's. Hello, it's me, Wim Van Hecke. Here is my post. Oh, it's this very funny meme. By industrial lubricator, do you mean grease gun? I would assume that it's like even crazier. Why do we keep going to this? I keep accidentally clicking on the microscope. There, that's the camera that I want to get to. Because, yeah, when it comes to grease guns, there are some actually crazy setups. It was on a mechanical arm? Cool. But the light came on. But, light on the... Initializing means the light turns on. I think the GE logo actually lights up in these. I think that the logo actually lights up when the system is on. I'm pretty sure. We've opened this thing up before. I just didn't take out the whole embedded computer part of it. And it's a shame these aren't like standard Raspberry Pi. You could put a couple Raspberry Pis in this thing. That'd be kind of cool. For articulated grease nipple location. Okay, what am I reading? Why am I reading these things? What are these words that have come onto my screen that I'm looking at? 1 minute and 52 seconds until we get to wait for this thing to cool down. And now I cannot use Windex on this, otherwise it will distort. The flatness is actually something that we need to chase on this. It needs to be flat. I could put one of those steam machines inside of this thing. The people running the sale said the guy used to work as a factory technician. Does that mean he stole a grease gun? Are you supposed to buy your own grease gun for factory lubrication purposes? I don't think you're supposed to own that tool. Maybe it broke. That is sealing it up quite nicely. I forgot how tuned in our settings were. Like, I'm seeing a reflection of the BL touch in this top layer, which is pretty crazy. I forgot how good our settings were. We spent a long time working on them, rest assured. Okay, we're almost done. We're almost done. Just a little bit longer. Gotta bear with me. Still a broken unit with the plans to repair it for his own use. Yeah, you see that. I mean, that's probably why that industrial computer found its way to my hands. Don't sniff the vapors, bother. You'll become microplastic. Bitch, I got macroplastics in me. You kidding? I got a little plastic tube that sits under my skin. Don't come at me with this microplastic crap. I'm full of this stuff. Also, this is PETG, so it's actually food safe. Same stuff your soda bottles are made out of. Yes, yes! Good! You know every nerd drags broken gear home from work. Yeah, I did that a lot too. That's why I have some of the more fascinating tools that I use day to day. What filament? Polymaker? No, it's hold on, let me go look. I always buy the same brand. Yeah, Polymaker. I use Polymaker, and it's PETG. Nothing fancy. I don't need no fancy stuff. We just do straight up PETG. Typically, it'll be a gray. I'm printing in black because I bought a ton of black filament because I thought I'd be making that split flap display. I really wanted to make a big split flap display so that, you know, you guys could have cool looking split flap stuff come down from comments and bits donations, but I never really went through with it. It's a lot of printing to make enough digits to make a significant amount of text from a split flap. Yeah, the plastic is safe for food, but the layering and the ridges make it unsafe for food. We watched Bother once put resin into his pod. So I did a little bit of the resin printing, and I still have it, and I still plan on doing more resin printing. But one of the things that happened was I got resin on my hands, and then I washed my hands extensively. Unfortunately, I did not do what I preach, and what I preach is that you need to use a finger brush, one of those fingernail brushes, the little stubby little like square brushes, to really scrub under those nails and around your cuticles, because that's where the stuff hides. And so later on in the day, I was biting my fingernail, my thumbnail off, and I got resin in my mouth. So the Brazilian guy that took radioactive powder from broken medical equipment. Yeah, there's a couple stories like that that are pretty brutal. I'm not doing that. Oh, you're talking about for food stuff. 100% infill, then throw the part in a sand mold before throwing it into the oven like a glass part to slowly cool down. Yeah, I mean, that's how you can make a smooth, solid print. I still don't know how food safe that would be, but more so than having the layers. If you sintered it, if you like did whatever that process was that we did, we use salt instead of sand, but the prevailing wisdom behind it is that if you want, you do 100% infill, you pack sand very tightly around it, and then you put it in the oven, and then you've basically made a casting mold that your plastic will then become sort of homogeneous inside of. Still wouldn't trust the 3D printed bowl. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, you're doing very similar to injection molding or just, you know, lost cast molding kind of style. Good enough for the girls I go out with? No, I would hope it's not good enough for them. What's up, Gonad? We're letting this thing cool. This is our pseudo printed part. Instead of doing all the shenaniganery with the 3D printed pieces, because it basically extracted the columns from itself. There's two big holes here, and this one just comes right out. It basically extracted the columns, so I could either print so that there's a solid bar across all this stuff, or I could machine a piece of aluminum to be that bar, or the third option that we chose is I can angle a piece like this the right amount, and then I can use right angle blocks on the hanging hole. One hole will be able to bolt with an M8. That's enough to hold like a school bus up in the air. And then the second one will have a little angle block on it with gussets. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I was thinking what would happen if I put a big fan, or better yet, just because it's fun and funny, if I ran a copper tube in a zigzag under the bed and then had like a valve that would go off and it would run water through the bed to cool it more rapidly. Mine is bolted to a couple 2x4s with some M8 bolts and big washers. That's essentially what we're going to be doing. It's just that I need to get the rail at that right angle, because these rail systems are typically not all that angled. You can buy angle parts, but that would be $60 that I would have to spend for 2 of the little angle things, and then the beams that go with it, the beamists that go with it. Or I could take a piece of 4mm plate that I have plenty of, and I could cut it on the bandsaw and use the sander to soften it up, and then have 2 of these brackets that will make it 21 degrees. And because I don't trust myself to measure and drill a singular hole, I will do a print of a pseudo bracket, and then I will use a scribe to outline it on a piece of metal, and then I'll be able to get all the holes in the right place, etc., etc., etc. And then we'll all be millionaires. So we're waiting for this thing to cool. It's going to take a minute or 2 to cool until I can successfully extract it from the bed. The bed is starting to show signs of age. It's been like 5 years with this bed. I have a second one. I bought 2 at a time because I knew this would have to happen. I knew this would happen. I knew I would have to swap out the beds after it wears a little bit. What is not happening is it is not picking up an entire grain of glass every time, which is nice, because that's the way the glass beds failed for me in the past, is the pieces of glass would pick up from the bed. No, instead, the whatever coating is on it, probably Teflon, is starting to lift up with prints. So I really do want to let this cool down properly so that it'll pop itself off instead of me having to force the issue and taking some of the bed with it. But yeah, these were funny because I put the clutch down and I was like, oh, cool, this is going to work great. And then I hit the brakes and the whole thing exploded. So I don't know. Stop. I don't need a PEI sheet. I'm not going to completely change the way that I print. Plus, the fact that something has happened to this thing after 5 years is not a failure. It's not something that I need to correct. Do not lick the Teflon. I've probably got more Teflon in me than you would ever believe. Private equity index? No, it's a particular kind of material that's very sticky to this kind of stuff. It's actually pretty nice, PEI, because you can also get like a nice texture on it too. My texture for prints on the bottom layer is this sort of marquee dotted thing, because those dots are where it actually sticks. So it sticks on those dots of exposed glass, and so it's got glass-like properties on those dots, glass-like smoothness, but there's a little bit of the stuff that it lifted off. And it's got a little crystal grain of glass that it lifted off because I forced this giant print off too early. I spent about 2 hours yesterday trying to fix the first layer bed adhesion. It is a vexing problem when you do have it. It is a vexing problem. What point to retire the Ender 3 and get something better? Yeah, maybe. PEI leaves a sparkly texture that looks a bit like a nice clean sheet of sandpaper. Yeah, I hear, yeah, Wheezy Peasy also likes PEI. Yeah, people who like their PEI love their PEI, but I like this particular surface, this sort of coated glass is very sticky for PETG, and it does eventually let go nicely. Part of the reason I moved to Bamboo is because I didn't have a lot of the issues. Bamboo is like the solved equation of 3D printing. I can't afford a Bamboo printer. Hey, Bamboo Labs, I know you're monitoring audio on Twitch. You're probably watching my stream now, maybe. Hey, I'm kind of like not a big deal, but I'm a decent streamer, doing some numbers. Want to influence my crowd by sending me a free printer, please? No, I'm not cool enough. I tried emailing them and they didn't really get back to me. So I don't know what the story is, but the story is probably you're too small. Go away. You never know though, because you see all these creators and they get all this free stuff. Modern Prusa printers use load cells for bed leveling. First layer, so much better than trying to tune. Interesting. They use a load cell. Yeah, Prusa is one of those companies that like really believes in 3D printing, like to the core. They're not just trying to make a buck. And they're not trying to lock you into their, ecosystem or anything. They just love 3D printing for the love of the game. And so I very greatly respect that of them. Now, the temptation is to peel up. But I want to kind of press it from the sides. This is a big flat piece, so it is stuck on here really well. really, really well. And I can get the smaller stuff up without any issue, but without distorting this. Because if I peel this up, it's going to bend the plastic. Plastic starts off kind of wibbly wobbly. It's kind of like hardening clay in terms of the amount of strength that it has. Yeah, that's not moving. That'll damage the glass if I try to get it up right now. I could try to spray Windex, but Windex can also tend to distort things a little bit. If I spray Windex, what'll happen is the temperature of the bed will vary, because this is an insulator, right? So it's going to be a little hotter under the part itself. But what'll happen is I'll spray it with Windex, and the ammonia will evaporate, or whatever they use. I don't know what they're using these days. Whatever it is will evaporate, and that'll cool the bed down a little bit. And so the glass and the plastic expand and contract at different rates. And so microscopically, there will be a difference in distances. And so that'll end up popping the part off of the glass. Letting it cool naturally takes a long time. Too long for streaming. But it's the best way to get stuff off of the bed without it distorting. This might distort it. Another thing that happens with a Windex, though, is that the detergents get under the part, and they get between the part and the glass and actually render it, unattached. Because the glass, this stuff sticks well enough to glass to lift up glass crystals. Let's see if we can get it off without any glass crystals. You can see it pulling up, the white suds kind of pulled in. Yep, there you go. No force at all. Now, did this distort? Now we're looking pretty flat. It's pretty flat. Let's go take a look at it over on the bench. Oh, and then I keep a little paper towel here, because this is as much as cleaning as I do, typically, between prints. You can see the damage over here. There's a little bit of damage on the thing, but that was after 5 years of printing. So that thing is still good. And when it gets worse, I'll probably swap in another one of those plates. Point a fan at it. I don't think it's a really good idea to do that. I don't think it's good to press the issue, because if you have it pull out hard enough, it's going to break the glass pieces, and you'll have troubles. Yeah, there's a little bit of lift up of material. Or no, that might be where it's already damaged. But this is the bottom layer. 6 top layers might be a little bit overkill, but we get this glassy top layer out of it. Dog is barking at the door. She has to be the master of all around her. She's the gatekeeper around here. Well done, Windex. Pretty good. So it could be a little wider, to be honest. Well, I think it's pulled in like this. I think it's fine. This should be plenty strong in the vector that we want it to be strong in, right? Because it's 4 millimeters of plate. So I don't know. I don't think it really needs to be much thicker than that. Windex sucks. Use ISO, but the Windex has the detergents in it, so that's why I'm using it. That's a lot larger than I thought it would be on this plate. Ooh, that takes up a lot of space. This cut is so bad that I don't want to have this be the basis of anything. Oh, this is 6 millimeter thick. Okay, so this stuff will definitely hold whatever I have under it. All the Reddit nerds would run a full analysis before a print. I don't know. I don't want nothing to do with that. That's got a cut right there. There's like a little cut out of that point. Oh, this will actually be good. I can just do it side by side here, and that'll waste very little material. So it'll be just two of these, and I'll put gaps in there for the saw blade. Because, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, printing this and putting it on the beams is like, that ain't gonna fly. That ain't gonna hold. That'll blow up the first chance it gets. So let's just take that and let's do some scribing. Some scribing, some scribbling. Wait, does that... I see, that pulls away a little bit there. So what if we just line that up like that? Okay, so that whole face is preserved. And then it turns. God damn it. I need to like glue it down. Could double-sided tape it. Actually, I think that's off by a little bit. See, like the angle doesn't matter that much. We did put it in 21 degrees, right? We actually have it at 21 degrees, but the angle, to be honest, it's gonna, like those bolt holes are gonna be able to fudge more or less degrees, right? Yeah, maybe we'll put, I got blue tack right here. Because flatulent gonad eventually wore me down, I finally bought a package of blue tack, and I got more than this. It's just sitting in the drawer. Could just be 2 plates with holes. That's all we're going to do. Yeah, we're going to make 2 plates, and then 1 plate goes on either side. That's it. Very easy. The problem is the tack is 3-dimensional. Oh, and it doesn't stick. It doesn't stick. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna mark it. I can use a mini clamp for this. Because I'm just scribing it in the metal. Here, just get one of these, and then I can just lightly scribe over this thing. Yeah, it's made for paper, but this is PETG. It's a very unsticky substance unless you're a piece of glass at 90 degrees Celsius. Let's get this locked into the corner. Can't quite do the full corner. I can do this. No, stay in. This stuff is, everything's moving around. Yeah, see, it's just always going to move a little bit. Okay. And then it's tilted. Why does it tilt so much? Oh my god. Okay. Try that. And I wonder why all of my hole drillings are off. This is why. Okay. This one. Give it a little space for the other one. Or should I cut the... No, because they have radiuses around them, so they're gonna be different. Yeah, so as long as I just follow this as best I can to make it squares. Make it square. They're gonna look like 2 completely different brackets, aren't they? Okay. There's a little like stuff, some marks on it over there. Wonder what that was from. Yeah. The problem is these are going to be shiny. I could get out all of my anodizing stuff, but I think that's a little bit overkill, the anodizing stuff. So I got to mark the centers of these holes because those will be the first thing that I put in. To do that, I have a cheating tool. Usually you could just kind of like figure it out, just maybe do stuff properly, but instead I've got this cheating tool that I've had for quite some time, and I barely ever get to use it. But what it is a little super duper accurate hole punch, and it uses a little target reticle that's magnified. And so we can do this on the microscope. These are little fiber optic viewers. Let's move this out of the way. Let's move this out of the way. Just put that on the floor maybe. Yeah. Oh, now it's on the floor. Probably left a mark in the floor too. All right. One is an X, the other is a dot with a circle. And it's hard for you guys to see the circle, but there's part of the circle. Can I get out far enough to be able to see it? No, not really. Yeah, you guys don't get the benefit from the circular thing. Let me see what I see in this. What is it you see? Yeah, I can see the whole circle. Oh, but that's not going to really help me align it. Whoa. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm looking at what you guys look at. I have the same view that you do. Same exact view. See, there's a dot with a circle, which would be really helpful, especially since these holes are so big that we're not getting like a good view of it. The other one's an X. So if we align the X, why is it not moving? Wait, the X should be moving with everything. It shouldn't. What the? What? Wait, what? I guess our view would have to move too. Why is that? Why? What? Optics are weird, guys. Why is the X? Why does the X not move when I move this? Because it's just an X on the end of this thing, right? There's just like a little X here. But when that doesn't make any sense. There's some weird optics stuff going on. It's the reticle's not moving. Make any sense? I guess it is moving, but it just appears like it's still. So like there's one of the hoops, and I can't see the whole thing. That is so weird. That is so weird. Actually, I think I could just align, because these are the size of the actual holes. I don't even think I need the magnifier for this. I think I could just align it that way. Yeah, they're moving at two different rates, but it's just so weird. Yeah, this is actually the better way to do it. I can just peer in until I see the surrounding hole. Well, I would like a better view of that. Humans are really good at estimating circular things. Oh, I need a hammer. Okay, hold on. We'll have to do that again in just a sec. We'll do that again in just a sec. I need a hammer in order to make a dot. I need a hammer. Let me get the hammer. This will be good. This is a good hammer. Whoa. There's a big glitch. This camera, the cable for it is kind of noisy, and so it ends up glitching a little bit, which is more fun for me than you guys. I kind of enjoy it because it does the little glitching thing. I don't think, as professional as oh God, it's getting brighter and brighter. Turn off. As professional as I like my system to be, my whole thing, I do like it to have a certain amount of jank. The jankiness is charm. Bonk. We got a couple of these to do. That is not in the right spot. There's not much that I can really do about that, though. This is the part that I hate the most, is that whenever I try to do this kind of stuff, it always is off. Maybe I'll do just a little tiny... No, but I can't really see how centered it is. I don't know, the tilt of the camera is going to affect it. Yeah, it looks like... Here, let's try to make the camera square to the desk. Square to the desk. I don't have any leveling equipment on that, but that may help me view down this thing a little bit more sturdy. Because it's not like this is going to help. Yeah, that's not going to help. Get it towards the center of the camera. There we go. That's the best that I can do. Otherwise, I mean, I guess I could... Well, no, because if I estimate it just using the point of this thing, it's even worse. For me, anyway. Yeah, see, that's off. I don't know. There's horseshoes and hand grenades. You know, we can flub it a little bit. The system was supposed to help. It did not. The other thing I could do with Fusion, though, is I could make a drawing, and I could have just used some spray adhesive. See, like that one's off lower than where the hole should... Pisses me off, man. I can never get this stuff right. But I could have put this onto like a drawing. Yeah, it's like, because the camera angle is a little too far over, it's like viewing this down this way. You can see that it needs to view it a little bit further. No, that's not right. Or maybe I should just move it over to the right a little bit from where I think it is. Oh, let's try that. If this one isn't deep, then those burrs are going to take the tip. A ring light? I have a ring light. It's on the mill right now. Off. It's off to the right. Very annoying. Very annoying that all the holes are now going to be off. This is where typically I would use the DRO, and the DRO would set me straight. Because I could just use the DRO to estimate where all these holes should be. Ugh. They all look off. I hate it. Oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it. Nope, that's way off. Okay, so this is better than just me estimating. The DRO, of course, would be king, but I can't use the DRO because it doesn't work. But see, look at how angled that is. Wait a minute, let's go back over here. That. Do your best. So right about there. I'm not using the shadow. I'm looking at the scrapes on the metal and the outer rim of this thing. But it's still a little janky. The best way to do this obviously would be with a printout of the pattern, and then I could glue the pattern down with some spray. I don't think I'm still connected to the printer down here though. That would be the best way, and then I could put X's on all these holes and use this thing to line it up to the X's. But doing it is greater than not doing it. Jeez, that's a terrible hole right there. Horrible line, sir. What's bugging me is that I can't see this side, but I can see all of this side. which means that the camera is looking at it like that. But if I tilt the camera like this, now I can visibly see that the camera is tilted to the other side, but that looks a little bit more even. Maybe that'll solve all our problems. That actually may have solved all of our problems, but the camera is visibly tilted to the other side. That's so weird. That's so weird. Set a compass from half the diameter and scribe from edge to edge in 3 spots. I've seen that before. I've seen that before. That might be a really good way to do it. That's so much more accurate now. Oh man, that means these are going to be all stupid. Why? So this is visibly tilted like that. Maybe it's just because that's more accurate at this part of the fisheye kind of lens area. Okay, just like this. Just like right there. Is your desk not level? Pretty sure it is. It's getting much more accurate now. All right, so that's all the quote-unquote center punches. They're going to be off by a little bit. Hopefully that doesn't affect things too badly, because the gap on the holes should be much larger than the bolt itself. Like even this bracket, it's got like a huge hole on it. So maybe I'll pilot them and then switch bits so that it's a larger drill. And that'll give us enough wiggle room so that things don't need to be exactly precise. These are much thinner, it seems. What size holes do these have? That's like 9mm. Well, 8.5. I would put that to 9mm. No, 8.5. Huh. 8.5mm holes. We'll get something close to that. Why is that music still stuck on me? It's been days that I've had this theme song stuck in my head. All right, let's get this thing away and let's get the plate over there, and we'll get the light over there too. I'll use the ring light. It'll probably be easier for us all to see. And should I just send it and just go full diameter? I might just send it and go full diameter. I really need like a covered cabinet over here instead of all this stuff floating in the air. It gets very dusty. One day I'll be able to put them in a cabinet and then it won't get all full of shit from my shop. Okay, so let's get ready to machine a thing. This over here, this I don't need falling on my face. I could lift this up a little bit, but we do also have this, and that'll give me my illumination. The rotary table we do not need. I'll go down here. Not on the edge, move it in a little bit. This I am just gonna have floating. I'm not gonna actually, because I can't clamp it, I can just leave the clamp open and that'll be my backdrop. And then this is coming over here. The bottle, do not need over there. This is an empty bottle. It's just an empty one. I bought them as a pair, but don't need the handle here either, falling on my foot. Okay, we'll just center, approximately center it. And then this goes way up. Meanwhile, I find a near as enough as makes no difference drill bit. That's almost the diameter, so we'll go with that, and that'll get it close. And then I'll use the big drill bit. We're just using it as a drill press right now. I could probably set it up for all the angles and stuff, so that we'd make these parts. Okay, a little further down. Oh, there's my other scribe. It's all the way over there. Okay, so this thing is, oh yeah, get that out of the way. Make sure that we're drilling into a part of the clamp that's not gonna crash us. And this is a big enough plate that I can overcome the amount of torque. I think I'll give it a little tiny spritzel of something. WD-40 is no longer back here, is it? I don't know what happened to it. So I'll do a little bit of maybe motor oil. Get the motor oil out of the ancient looking motor oil thing that has a lot of dog hair on it. Oh my god, that is way too much dog hair. Gotta give it little tiny baby pumps. There we go. That was way too much. Over here for now. That's all the oil I'm gonna need for the entirety of the drilling that I'm doing. Man, I gotta do something about dust around here. Holy shit. Holy shit. All right, let's go. Actually, before I even do that, I'm going to wipe off the excess of oil because it's going to be important that I find that little divot that I made and then get the drill to press in on the right spot. So I'm going to need less oil to be in my eyes, so to speak. That looks like it's been used in World War II, yeah. I kind of like it for that. I think it was another estate sale item, I think. Oh, wow, the oil actually cleaned up some of the gunk that was on the aluminum. Huh. Huh. All right, gonna try light pressure to find my center. Right there. See, I can't even see if I'm in the center of that. Hold on a sec. I am way, way off. That is way off. Holy shit. I hate doing this. Have I told you guys how much I hate doing this? Because I hate doing this. I hate it. None of my holes end up where they should be. When I use the DRO, it's always good, but... Now the part that I really have to be careful in is when this punches out the other side of the material. I'm not going heavy into this and I'm trying to break the chips up, but when it busts out the other end, that's when it could potentially catch. And that's when it would send this plate flying into my hand. But the material is thick enough that I don't think that's going to happen. As long as I keep it pressed and level. Of course, it is 6 millimeters to get through. Holy shit. The whining is getting louder. All right, here we go. Very carefully. There we are. Okay, cool. So that's a little bit of chips there. Yeah, the dangerous part is when it punches through the other side of the plate, that it doesn't catch on anything and try to whip the plate in my hand. That is center. Whoa, wait a minute. Did I actually do good? Do a practice one? Nah. Yeah, it's like a high-pitched squeal. That, I don't see the pen mark anywhere on it. The scribe mark, rather. There's the scribe mark. See how it's just a little bit on every side? That is really close. Wow. With a drill press, the bit is not necessarily stopped at the center of its run out because of wobble. It might be similar with the mill. I found that turning my drill press on and lowering the bit near the workpiece helped with precisely aligning where the hole will be drilled. This is a drill press / mill, so it does have the appropriate bearings for the side fumbling stuff, But yeah, you are right. Having it spinning and finding the center is probably the best thing for me. This drill bit is really close to the size of the hole. It seems like I might not have needed to punch the centers, and that might actually throw off some of my drilling here. You guys can't really see what I'm doing because my hand is in the way, and my hand really should not be in the way, but I don't have any other option here. I have to use this as a drill press today, so maybe we put you guys over here. That'll give you a slightly better view of things. I do have a block of wood that I can throw in this thing. I don't know where it is right now. It's somewhere around the shop, but so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this by hand and just hope that my drill bit punches through. My finger's going to be in the way of the drill, isn't it? Now, this is about as center as I get. I'm going to try this one and then we'll regroup. Yeah, that is in the center. Mostly. That's how I'm looking. That is close to my markings. Holy shit. I did not expect that. We got a couple more holes to drill. Maybe I can give you guys a better angle. What are people saying over here? The squeaking means it's getting hotter. Do 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 do. All right, let's try it. These are the more center punches. I don't like that noise. I don't like that noise. I'm gonna use 3-in-1 oil. I'll just drop a little dabble. Just a little dibble. There we go. Ow, my ears. Okay. Another day, another hole. That one's off by a little, but not much. This drill bit is very close to the final size. Producing some 20 kilohertz sounds. Those should be slightly less emphasized for you, but maybe they're coming through the audio equipment because the lavalier microphone seems to prefer high-pitched stuff. And I need to look at my audio settings, to be honest. It needs to be tweaked a little bit. Let's bring this in a little. So I have the plate at least on the corner there. Just taking little bites at a time, little nibbles. Nibble, nibble, nibble. Spinning. I'll try spinning, that's a good trick. Okay. Another day, another hole. All right, that's one of the brackets drilled out. Let's get the other one drilled out. and then we'll get drilled out. I mean, it seems like it's either within the realm of wiggle room, all of my holes ending up at the middle, but these are the ones that are really bad, so we'll see what happens now. The squeaking, I can't help. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. I'm just afraid it's going to catch the plate, but I don't really think that's going to happen. It's just, I'm sorry. It's music stuck in my head. I can't help it. From a cartoon, of all things. I don't want to put my fingers all up in the business end of this crap. Yeah, I don't like that. It kicked a little bit at the end there, mostly because what's happening is if I'm pushing down over here, the jaws are even over here. So this will suddenly kick at an angle, and when it hits that angle, that's when the blade will try to bite off more than it should chew, right? Every dog in the neighborhood is waiting outside, yeah, right? I now fully understand why you wanted a CNC. Yeah, exactly. I cannot be trusted to drill stuff in the proper locations. It just isn't a thing. I can't. Ah, one's gonna be off. Yeah, that one's off. Hopefully it works. Hayes. Shut up. Okay. Stopping between cuts gives everybody a chance to cool off. It is getting a little warm. The that one was off by a little bit, but hopefully it all comes out in the wash. And this will be the last one, and then we got to get a larger drill bit. Yeah, this one too. Fuck. Holy crap. Jeez. All right, larger drill bit. Hopefully a sharper drill bit too. Jeez. Dr. Plugger, you're here just in time for all the squealing. Dr. Plugger with 60 months. Hey, thank you so much, Dr. Plugger. That is mighty kind of you. Indeed. Okay, so I guess the goal is for the holes to be this big, because that gives us plenty of wiggle room for the bolts going through. And this is very close to that size, and slightly larger, smaller rather. How about you? WBU. Too big. We're looking for almost the size. This will be a larger drill bit, so it'll be a less used one. This is almost, it's close enough. Near enough makes no difference, right? Luckily, my dog is going deaf. Otherwise, he'd be freaking out from the noise. Sorry. It's just the sound of industry. The, what is it, 100 kilohertz of industry. Wait, that's supposed to lock. It's not locking. You lock. There we go. And then bring her up. Okay. And just to be nice to everybody, I'll put a little oil on it. So this one I have to be extra careful of because I don't want it punching badly. This is making me nervous. Hold on. Hold on. This is making me nervous. I don't like the prospects of this thing flipping out at me. Do I have anything that I can clamp with? Not really. This is a very awkward size. I mean, I guess if I just go real slow, I just move my fingers out of the way here. Yeah, just real slow. More. Okay. I kept most of my fingers. Now, cutting this out is going to be a kind of a thing, isn't it? It's going to be tough for me to do. We'll manage. We'll manage somehow. Will you hear it if you drill the metal clamp? I can't. It won't touch anything. That's its full travel and it hasn't touched the metal clamp. So can you drill halfway and then flip it? Your holes will never line up that way. That's never going to happen. No way in hell. I could use this thing to chamfer the ends. I think I'm just going to use the hand chamfer. Bring you guys back over here. And we got to set up the world's scariest bandsaw. The bandsaw that I use clamps to the vise that's on the side of the desk. And it is a handheld bandsaw. And it's creepy. It's kind of creepy. I mean, what I could do is bolt these to each other, and then we could run the end mill across them, and maybe that will clean them up. I can't really bolt them together. Well, I can't get it in the vise if I bolt them together. That would be the ideal way to do it, though, and then I'd produce two of the exact same thing. These are the ones that really need it. This is where I punched through every single time with a drill bit. See, what I was afraid of is putting pressure on it that would make it go like that. And once it does that, the drill bit will bite in, and then it'll whip this thing around at me. It's not an incredibly powerful drill press. Like, I don't think it could really hurt me that much, but basically when I was about to go through the material, when you feel it kind of start to loosen up, I slowed way down and made sure that I went through cleanly, but also biting as little material as possible so that it didn't have a chance to catch and flip it around. That scares me to death. That's a very scary thing that could happen. End up whipping your own piece into your friggin' arteries. Didn't want it to happen. All right, so those are the holes. Now I've got to get these lines cut out. Oh God, how am I going to do that? I mean, I could just bandsaw through this, bolt them together. The 21-degree angle part's going to be kind of difficult, but we could always put it in the end mill like that, and I could run an end mill all on top of it. I thought the drill press was nerve-wracking. Bring on the bandsaw. It's the world's scariest bandsaw. Twitch users shudder to think what may happen to me when using this thing. It's the best way I got to do this. Otherwise, we would have been machining it on a rotary table. Instead, I'm making brackets and I'm putting the whole thing at an angle. So yeah, let's set that up, huh? Guess my mixer's got to move. The mixer is right in the way, which is a newer piece of equipment around here. Okay, see you later. Let's put this down here. Move these cables. And get the scariest tool. Oh, it fell behind everything. Okay, hold on. I gotta dig it out. It fell from the little shelf that it was on. And it's been back here for a while. Where'd you go, bandsaw? Please don't unplug anything. Please don't unplug anything. Yeah. Oh, there's another countersunk bit fell down there. Damn it! What did that just unplug? It unplugged that light. Everybody's back on. We're still streaming. Mixer's still powered. Okay, good. Okay, that was just this desk over here unplugging. All right. Weird bandsaw. Still got audio? Yeah, still got audio. Okay. I'm gonna put this here. Block of wood. I got a vacuum over here too. Oh, there's another plate of steel. Another plate of aluminum, rather. We could use that. Yeah. Ouch. Oh, there's a car seat behind me. I forgot that I don't have any room to maneuver. Oh, come on. Aluminum chips everywhere. Stupid thing. Play us out. What does that mean? Okay, this goes down a little bit out of the way for now. And we'll get this up. Yeah. Power cable out there. This goes here. Close that. And that makes, I just used a piece of 80/20 in one of the angle brackets to make a thing that comes off of the slide at a right angle. So the whole thing clamps from right there. It's the world's scariest metal bandsaw. I checked the farts. Feels like this whole shop is one wrong move away from exploding catastrophe. No, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, so yeah, let's get this thing cut out. We're just moving in right angles. I think the first thing I cut is going to be across here. So that's just like this, and then operated by doing that. Do I have a light on this thing? Nope. So I got to reposition this light so that I can actually see what I'm doing. And this is in the way. Hold on. That whole thing will just shove you under there. This comes over here. All right, look at a little better. Get that low angle light, and that'll help out. Yeah, I don't know how well this is going to cut. To be honest, I feel like I should just part these from each other, cutting across and then across there, and then down here, and then bolt them to each other and use an end mill to sort of get the lines straight, because otherwise this thing cuts like hell. Like, this doesn't cut well. So maybe that'll be the strategy. I could use all that extra material at first, though. So yeah, let me get this cut done. Nice and easy. All right, let's see. Let's go this way. Nice and stressful. All right, next. I guess we should go up this way, and then I'll flip it, and we'll go this way, and that'll part the first piece. I'm not going accurate to the scribes yet. We'll end up bolting them together. The fact that he's doing it with one hand, it keeps my other hand out of the way. Ran out of room. Oh, good. Good. There. Yeah, that was a wandering cut. That kind of went blah, 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 blah. But well, we're close enough. Let's go this way. Don't know how to approach the rest of this. We'll figure it out though. I like the generous use of the word machining. It'll get more machiny. Oh God, I'm out of time. Yeah, well, we'll work a little bit further. I'm gonna just cut these two pieces out and then we'll continue later. Or maybe I'll continue later. I mean, the machining is actually gonna happen later. The machining will happen when I bolt these two together and then clamp them, and then I'm able to use an end mill to kind of finish them. Then they'll look all nice and engineering. This is what we get for not being able to 3D print these parts. Okay, so a note on what I'm doing. As I approach this, I will be putting less pressure into this plate. I'm pushing this pretty hard to get through this dull saw blade, right? This is a dull saw. Why is there stuff here? Oh, there's like oil from the, there's oil in the back of my nail. That was not blood. I was like, why is there blood? That's just oil. Okay, so as I get to the end of this cut, what's going to happen is I'm going to need a whole lot less pressure on this because this thing is just going to fall away and there will be nothing in front of the blade. That's when you go, oops, and your skin hits the fucking, dull saw blade and you get a bunch of aluminum in your body. Instead, what I will be doing is slowing way the hell down and going very, very carefully until I reach that line, and then this will fall off and I'll go, I did it, and right into the saw blade, okay? Cool. See that little jump? See that little jump? You saw the little jump. You saw that little jump. Yeah, we saw that little jump. All right, that's one of them. That's gonna get machined away to be nice and flat later on. For a dull blade, it's cutting pretty good. I mean, it's chewing aluminum. There's not much to do there. Better that I do, because this angle. So if I do this angle first, it'll go until I run into something. And then I'll be able to do the other angle, I guess. Okay. Got a lot of cut to get through here. All right, that's gonna bug me. That's gonna bug me. Here, you get in there. I'm gonna have some vacuuming to do after this. Yeah, have to do it like this. Okay. Okay. Last cut, same as the first, same as the other one. Same deal. Just being careful not to touch me. That was much cleaner. Whew. Okay, that was a workout. Now I've got 2 brackets of the same type. All I need to do, bolt these together, and then we can put them against the end mill on the vise, and I can get it all straight to the I cut aluminum the other day, and I was like, I should save all this aluminum dust for another project. Whew, okay. Jeez. FBI, we're not making thermite. Yeah, no. You got to save that aluminum. You got to keep it in your rusty bucket. It'll be good for later. Let me get the deburring tool on this thing. Where is that? It's right here. Probably a file would be enough to deburr it, to be honest. Maybe I should just use a file. Bleeds oil. He only bled a little bit of oil. Yeah, my thumb oil. Yeah, actually, I'm going to get too many burrs in my body if I do this. Man, the little bits of aluminum that hurt. Get into your flesh. Yeah, you can see how wobbly the cuts were. They're pretty bad. It's like, ugh. Doing this so that when I bolt them together, they'll be nice and tight to one another. And then we'll use an end mill to clean it up. I'll do that. I'm gonna have to do that tomorrow on my own without you guys. And then we'll be back. Oh man, I just put a big old apprentice mark in it. This really doesn't have to be perfect. I think this thing will. I think these will hold strong enough, steadfast. Now the filing is setting my dog off. Woo, woo, woo. All right, a little bit cleaner on the corners. Yeah, so you can see that bandsaw, it looks really scary. And it could be really scary if I wasn't careful and I knew exactly how the thing kicked. When you don't consider something like that scary, that's when you are at the biggest risk of it hurting you. And so I'm always beyond cautious with that thing. I'm always treating it as though it's the absolute scariest thing in the shop. And I know Twitch commentary, they want me to be in knee pads and a face shield and all that stuff, but you know, I can only do so much. Plus, I mean, it's just a straight cut. But always know where your first aid kit is, huh? Yeah, always be afraid. Not afraid, but don't be overconfident, I think is really the important thing. You want to treat your shop as if it could kill you at any minute. Because it can. You will be. I'm not afraid. Shut the fuck up, Luke, says Yoda. Is one of the lengths longer than the other? I don't think so. They should be even. I think it's just the scribe lines are more accurate than the actual part. Yeah, that's going to be tough, is cleaning this up. I got scared every time you moved your hand near the blade. No. Okay, I was very careful in keeping most of my hand below the workpiece so that I can't accidentally, you know, if I was doing this, I could have slipped off and hit the blade. But I was keeping major parts. So like I'd have to sever my thumb in order for my hand to have slipped and gone into the blade, right? I have a makeshift saw table. I'm always worried it'll cut off my finger one day. Yeah, use a chicken stick with that thing, you know? This is talking about making, don't make thermite. Don't do it. I don't endorse that. Yeah, using a chicken stick with that sort of thing. All right, so I got a lot of work to do on these still, right? I could sit there with the belt sander and maybe just sand it all the way up to the edges on all the sides. That might be the easier way for me to do this, is use my belt sander in the other room and just get it right up to the line there, just holding it and sanding it that way. Or I could try to whip these into the vise and actually just run an end mill along the sides. That would be the cleaner way to do it, probably. These are all chewed up. I mean, the bandsaw is only for roughing things out, and it got pretty close to some of the lines. I kind of went over the lines there a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. The belt sander would be the way to do that turn, that little curve that's in this thing. So I'm gonna have to have that debate with myself tomorrow. And I'll probably get these done tomorrow, and then maybe we'll be able to see the results on Thursday when I come back. I am going to do the end card. Boy, as we get further into the evening, I get more viewers. I should probably stream later. The problem is, it is completely pitch black outside. Okay, no, the sun's starting to go down. As the days get longer, maybe I can stream a little later, but I need to get the corgi outside before she explodes. And I don't want her to blow up. I don't want my puppy to blow up, you know? Paste that, and then let's put in for Thursday, which is the 22nd. Is that right? Yeah. Month is flying by, I think. This month has been the longest 3 years of my life. So yeah, here's the end card. I'm going to be back on Thursday, and we will make more progress on this build. There it is. What is it? My Blue Sky has been hacked, and it got banned, and so I don't know what to do about it anymore. I don't know if I can get it unbanned or something. I sent them an email, and I haven't heard anything back. Same thing happened with my Reddit account, except it didn't get banned. It was just somebody else possessed it for a while, and they signed up to all this porn. And then a year later, I get an email from Reddit to recover the password, because maybe whoever stole my account wanted to recover the password. And so I was able to get my account back and, you know, turn on two-factor authentication and all that jazz. But man, I had to dig some subreddits out of that thing. There were some weird ones. It's a gift from the gods. Social media is evil. I don't disagree with you, but at the same time, I am trying to foster an audience, and it doesn't help to be completely out of social media to do that. But anyway, the social media that technically that I do subscribe to with all kinds of weirdos in it is Discord. I do have a Discord channel for the show, and you guys can, oh, the link's gone forever. You can rewind and you can write the link down and then and hit enter. What was the weirdest one? Nope, not going to tell you. That's for your imagination. It can get as weird as you want it to be. I'm not gonna say it. I can see it in my head because I was scrolling through the feed and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And it was some weird ass porn subreddit that had been followed by my account. I've got the account back, so it's been restored. But yeah, it was quite an experience. There were some weird subreddits too. All right. So, I mean, if you're into that sort of vanilla stuff, yeah, maybe that was it. Okay, so I am looking at people who are live. I'll probably just recommend you guys go somewhere instead of actually rating in because it's a little too invasive for my purposes. It looks like Boom is on. Rava's doing Manor Lords. Ugh. Yeah, nothing much going on. All right. You guys can figure out where you want to go from here. You're all responsible enough to find another channel. Why is it necessary to use a hacked account to sign up for those subreddits in order to get a duplicate account not tied to one's actual identity? You can just make another account in that case. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know, like, why not sell my 15-year-old Reddit account? Mine's like a 15 or 16-year-old Reddit account. Like, it's valuable to sell, probably. Doesn't have a lot of karma, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they didn't just do that. They were using it for their own purposes. You guys check out Dave or David if you want. Yeah, here, I'll do a shout out for that. Yeah, valuable for its age because it's like more, it's less reliably a bot. Oh, not raid. No, we're shouting. I'm not raiding. Shout out. Oh, I have to add the username. I can't just use those already in there. David. Is that right? Am I spelling that right? David. There you go. We got a shout out to some people there. Is it good things about you? You really like your name CNC laser board. Ah, that's cool. Yeah, we got to work on that. I got to get this table out of here, the brewing table, which means I need to put more stuff onto the simulator setup. Once I get the brewing table out, then I'll be able to access burn the subs area more easily. And then I can do the wiring and we can work on some of the software. You know, burn the subs is coming. I've just been working on it for too long. I need to get it done. He's got a pixel display and a claw machine you can control from Twitch. That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, some of the other like maker people who do crazy interaction stuff, they do some cool stuff, man. There's some just smart people out. When are we playing beer pong on the old Burn the Subs board? I've got those mounted behind my computer. They're behind my computer where I can look at them if I move my monitors. It wasn't a good idea. They should be to the side of the computer. That way they'd make a good little backdrop for like gaming streams. I could have the camera on me from the side, and then I would be able to have, you know, all the names there and everything. Yeah, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this all together with bolts, like a bolt or two. Actually, I could bolt the whole thing, and then I can linish it back with the belt sander. Oh, but the bolts will get in the way. I'll make the drive. That's okay. We're okay. I do need to finish burn the subs up though, because that's sitting, and it's not good that it's sitting. It needs to be active. But it was like I would get through like none of a project when burn the subs was active. So I mean, we're making progress simply because I'm not constantly being pulled away from what I'm doing in order to move a camera around. But yeah, I'm not gonna play beer pong. I don't want to play beer pong. I don't want that headache. But the old boards are like this cool backdrop for the desk. At some point, I'm going to redesign my desk. Got all the parts sitting in the other room, and then maybe I can have it like to the side. So I'll have the two boards, and then it'll be something that people can see in the background, right? But anyway, I gotta go. I gotta walk my dog and wash my hands from all this oil. You did not see me lose digits today, nor will you in the future. But we had a day where we got to work on some physical stuff. I can finish up. Did CAN finally work? Yeah, we did get the CAN bus to communicate with the shifter. I stopped a little early of getting the shifter fully running again, because that would mean that I need to reprogram the microcontroller to act like a bunch of different car systems. Basically, it needs to say the car is either on or started, and then it needs to say, yeah, we're in gear. And then I need an engine that would turn it from gear to gear, depending on which button you press, because the button system and the illumination, like the LEDs that tell you what's going on, those are two separate systems. So the transmission can say, hey, we're in drive. And then this thing goes, oh, okay. And then it lights up the LED that's next to drive and say, oh, we're in park. And it'll light up the LED that represents park. So like, maybe in the future, I could use this to display something else. I could make it display stuff that's not like necessarily park, reverse, neutral, drive. I could make it say, oh, we're in park. That means we're in this mode, right? I could make it do something different. Yeah, you have to tell it what LED to turn on, because the other system it's not an island. It's part of the whole car. So it'll say, hey, we need to go into park. And then the transmission's responsibility is to go into park and then notify everybody that we're in park. And then this thing displays it. It's kind of cool that it's a separate device. The joystick program is essentially making the microcontroller do the job of all those other systems. And so I could make it do that. And I could make this into a joystick that would shift us into different gears. That's easy enough for me to do. I don't need to spend the time on that right now, though, because we have other stuff that needs to be sort of worked out. All right, anyway, I'm going to leave you guys to your own devices, and I will be around. And in the meantime, I will be in the brutal cold walking a corgi that's way too excited to be in brutal cold. and I will catch you guys on Thursday. Have a good one.